family away from home.
Where everyone feels like everybody knows their name.
A city that supports you. We see that with our benefits.
A pension, vacation days, job security.
Being able to be heard.
We feel valued. We feel respected.
Lee Summit is a very progressive city.
It's growing, it's thriving.
We have this drive towards not just doing a job, but doing it with a spirit of excellence.
I had the opportunity to continue to grow, regardless of 30 plus years doing this kind of work.
It's more than just dollars and cents.
We're here really to give back.
Providing a service to better a community.
To go out and serve people.
To be a part of something bigger than yourself. If I would have known what I know now, years ago, I would have been here much sooner.
Lee Summit has lots of local destinations, but where do you start? Green Street, a vibrant community space in the heart of downtown, is where Lee Summit comes together. Its 3 dynamic areas have something for everyone. Green Street Market is a modern event venue and home to the downtown Lee Summit Farmers Market. Green Street Lawn is a covered performance space hosting live music, family activities, and more. Green Street Grove is a mixture of gathering spaces, an immersive playground, and bold architectural features. And all 3 areas host community events year-round. So the next time you set out to enjoy the city you love, remember, meet at Green Street.
Welcome to the Lee Summit Sign Department. We are going to walk you through our process from start to finish. We make signs as needed here. It's not like we just go out into the field and place the speed limit sign here, no parking here. Our traffic engineers, they go through and they'll do field studies. They'll send us down an engineering work order for us to go out, place new signs or remove signs as needed. Coming from the material, our blanks come in and they're just aluminum blanks. We can put our white, our red, our fluorescent yellow, green, whatever. And basically what it looks like is just that there. Throw it up into the roller. And once we got it covered, take it to our work table here, and Tim will cut the corners, cut all the access off to where it's lined up right. As far as the plotter and the software that we use, there's a street name sign there, and he's gonna go ahead and print that out on the plotter so you can see the plotter and how it operates and runs. There's standards for the height, even just on letters on the sign blank. Basically what we have on the computer there is it's pretty much set up to those. And it goes through, it's got a very small but sharp needle that goes through and cuts everything out, letter by letter. Once that's done cutting, our next stage would be bringing it over here. Currently picking out the sign letters right now. We call it weeding or picking or however you want to call it. Next, putting it on the transfer tape. Then after it's taped, we bring it over to the roller. That's where we apply it to the actual sign blank. And we'll roll it through one time just to get the air bubbles out. And the last stage is basically just taking the transfer tape off the front of it. And there's a finished product of the street name sign. We'll take you out to the field and show you our process that we go through. We're gonna go out and follow our sign guys, get something installed for you. This is where we check our underground utilities. Tim, you got AT&T?
AT&T's back here.
Evergy, Google, so we should be good to go. We normally put all of our stuff together out in the field. Then once the base is installed, we'll go ahead and put the post in there. We've come up to perfect. And that's how we do it. Simple, quick.
Keeping our city beautiful is a collaborative effort for all citizens. The City of Lee Summit supports these efforts with a set of guidelines or ordinances, and the city's neighborhood services team helps put those guidelines into practice. These guidelines ensure grass stays trimmed, fences are maintained, home exteriors are kept up, and much more. We can all help out by first making sure our property meets these guidelines. If you notice a potential violation on a neighbor's property, first check the guidelines on the city's website. If it is a violation, the next step is to communicate with your neighbor directly. If that is not possible, or if the problem persists, it can be reported through LS Connect. LS Connect is an online platform for submitting issues to the city. You can access it on the city website or by downloading the app through your mobile device's app store. Once you submit an issue, it is reviewed by the Neighborhood Services team. A Neighborhood Services officer will then visit the site. For any violations found, the Neighborhood Services officer will leave a notice and speak with the property owner if possible. The officer's goal is to help the property owner solve or abate the problem as quickly as possible. After a 10-day period, the officer will inspect the site to see if the issue has been abated. Normally, by this point, the issue has been resolved. If not, depending on the type of issue, an extension could be granted, or the city might fix the problem at the owner's expense. In rare cases, if all other measures have been applied, the issue will be resolved in the municipal court. Neighborhood Services officers work hard to resolve problems quickly and positively. They are here to support the community as we work together to keep our city beautiful.
Member Lovell. Thank you, Mayor. Great presentation, Ryan. Thank you. Is there any indicator that shows, are we supporting a need with...
You know, they talk about like gym rats, kids that grew up with their dads that were coaches. Like I was a city hall rat. My dad, Tom Lovell, was hired as the Parks Administrator in 1978 and spent 40 years in public service here in Lee Summit. I would go up on the weekends when he was working and I'd run around and play and do things, and I didn't know what he was doing at the time, but I just knew that was part of our weekend routine some days was to go up and hang out at City Hall. Being part of a city from a young age to now in my adult life, you reap so many benefits from that. The people you know, you care more for something that you've been a part of. My wife and I knew we wanted to raise a family. Just trying to find a community that we thought we could raise our children in, that was good to me, and it just felt like the right move as we were deciding on a city to come back to. Fortunate to have started a business in 2018. I founded Lovell Insurance Group, and we are a business insurance brokerage. So we help businesses procure insurance. Decided to throw our flag in the ground here in Lee Summit, and it's grown. I also have this passion for learning and curiosity, and I started a podcast series. So I really enjoy this opportunity where I sit down with business owners and tell their story, and get this out to other people in hopes that maybe it betters their life and gives them some inspiration or something. It's going to be a really exciting time, and obviously this city's in my blood. My dad's been a part of it for a long time, so I'm really excited. Thank you all. A lot of people would say I was crazy, right? So why do you throw your hand up and subject yourself to going into city politics? I think, especially as I've gotten older, I just felt, maybe a civic duty, like a responsibility to say, hey, this city's been great to me. Here's a way that I can give back and take some of my skills and put them to work for the people of this city. I wanted to bring a different, maybe way of thinking and take some of my business acumen and see areas that it may apply to how we develop and grow this community, and just give a different perspective. One of our biggest challenges, but also one of our biggest opportunities, is how do we develop and grow this community? We don't want to grow too fast, but we want to grow at a pace that helps support, who and what we are as a community. So, we've got a lot of opportunities, whether that be through development or parks. We've got a lot of land coming on board. So I just think it's important, it's a challenge, but it's also our greatest opportunity. And so we just got to be smart how we do that. It's just asking some different questions. I'm one that, I'm not contrarian for contrarian's sake. What I am is someone will tell me something, and then I want to get to that position with them by just asking thoughtful questions along the way. And then if I can get there, then I feel like we've answered everything we can to move that forward, versus, hey, here's kind of how we've done it. I'm never the, this is how we do it, this is how we've always done it, and this is how we'll continue to do it. Office of Council Member for District 2. All of my practical experience has put me in this position to serve, and I just raised my hand and said I want to do that, for which I was elected on April 5th, 2022. I feel this obligation to carry this legacy that my dad did, my family did, and then giving my kids an environment to grow up in that makes them want to come back. My kids have started rec sports through the Parks and Recreation system, and I'm watching them play soccer on this sport field that, you know, my dad helped develop. And my dad's sitting there with me, right? I mean, that's the stuff that really matters in life.
All right, welcome everyone. Would you please rise for the invocation and stay standing for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Let us take a moment to pause. As we gather for this joint session, we ask for clarity of thought, steadiness of purpose, and respect for one another as we do the public's work together. May our discussions be grounded in our experience and guided by our shared commitment to the people and places we serve. Help us listen carefully and honestly, disagree constructively when we must. We are entrusted with decisions that shape our community, its neighborhoods, its public spaces, and the daily lives of those who call it home. Let today's work reflect integrity, collaboration, and a long view towards common good. Thank you for this moment.
United States of America, and to the republic for which
Okay, again, welcome everyone. I'm calling to order the City of Lee Summit joint session with the Lee Summit Parks and Recreation Board, regular session number 60 to order. Could I get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Hodges. Councilmember Rader.
Present.
Councilmember Pryor.
Here.
Councilmember Shields.
Here.
Councilmember Funk.
Here.
Councilmember Lovell. Councilmember Carlisle. Mayor Pro Tem Lopez.
Here.
Mayor Baird.
Here. So we did have a couple of council members, and they were all three urgent kind of matters, so which is really rare because we hardly ever miss anybody. So tonight it was one of those nights. So anyway, we'll forge ahead. With that, we have a few items on the agenda, but to be able to get started, I need an approval of the agenda. Councilmember Shields?
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Did she?
Second.
Okay. I'll get to it in a second then. We have a motion on the floor to approve the agenda.
Second.
And a sec. Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Shields, seconded by Councilmember Rader. Discussion? Seeing none, could I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Shields.
Aye.
Councilmember Rader.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Pryor.
Aye.
Councilmember Funk.
Aye.
Mayor Baird.
Aye. And then could you do a roll call for the Park Board too?
Lawrence Bivens.
Here.
Catherine Campbell.
Here.
Wesley Fields. Mindy Allenbach.
Here.
Nate Zier.
Here.
Casey Crawford.
Here.
Treasurer Ellis.
Here.
Vice President Shepard.
Here.
President Huser.
Here. All right. Thank you. So I do look forward to this. Every year we've been doing this. It's a joint session between the Park Board and the City Council, and I enjoy it because first off, it helps us communicate and know what's going on, and we get to share. We get to see each other outside of events and such because we don't actually make it to your meetings very often, or we have to watch them online. So we do have a liaison. That's right, But this is a time to come together because you all have a separate charter. Then you have your own charter, and we have a charter, and we follow them. But we mimic each other. We emulate each other with regard to how we do business and the type of decision making that we do. And so appreciate your service. Appreciate all the exciting things you guys have been working on that we're going to talk about. I think that I'm really proud of the Park Board, and I'm proud of our parks. It's a big reason why people love our city so much. We've got something on the schools tonight on our agenda as well later, and that's the other reason people love our city so much. So it's a really great night to be able to I call it collaborate with our stakeholders. So President of the board, Jim Huser, how long you been president now?
This is wrapping up my second year, so it's a 2-year term, and we'll be moving on from here later this year for that standpoint. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, and thank you all for being here tonight. I want to start by recognizing Mayor Baird and his collaborative leadership style. His openness and willingness to work together is what makes joint sessions like this possible, and we truly appreciate this opportunity. I also want to thank each member of the City Council. Your continued engagement, strong support of the Lee Summit Parks and Rec Department, that partnership matters, and it really shows. Tonight also is a great moment to acknowledge the growth of our park system. With the recent addition of Red Hawk Park, that brings our total park system and facilities to 33. It's quite a system that we have, and it's nice to take a moment and make sure that we share that so that people understand the depth and breadth of our park system. Finally, I want to thank you, Mayor, and the Council for your support in the recently enacted park impact fee and for your thoughtful engagement as we've explored developmental options and locations for our newest facility. Your involvement has been critical in helping us plan responsibly, strategically, and for the future of our park system. We appreciate all of your partnership, and we look forward to tonight's discussion.
Yeah, I'm excited, and we got a Fieldhouse coming and a pickleball complex we're going to talk about, and the impact fee. What's the other topic we get to talk about? The Unity Village Park. So you have a lot going on, and so do we, and we're going to share with you on our stuff. But thank you for those kind words, and I really do feel like we've got a great thing going. So future councils need to continue this, I think. So. So would you all, when you guys, when we speak, we'll have to pass around the microphones, and when you do, talk really close into it. I mean, I hate to say really close, it helps. And then also realize that the speakers in the back of the room are what are going to, what you're going to hear. So you may not hear yourself talking like loudly, but I think the crowd can hear us okay tonight. So, and with that, I think I'll get us started. Okay. First thing on the agenda is the park board topic of park impact fee. And you've got the guy that always builds things for the parks, Steve Casey, Superintendent of Park Planning and Construction. So how are you?
Mayor Baird, thank you. Good evening. President Huser, pleasure to be with you. Of course, City Council members and Park Board members, good evening. I'm Steve Casey. I'm the Superintendent of Park Planning and Construction. Got some good topics to present tonight. We want to talk about 3 projects and then give everybody a brief update on our park impact fee. I know most of you all at the table were involved in the process, either the council or the park board, in the process that we went through to enact the impact fee. It did go into effect July 1, 2025 with a city ordinance. Essentially, it's structured to ensure that new development through our community contribute a proportionate share of the cost to provide parks and rec facilities throughout our community. It also ensures that funds collected from new development are used to construct park and rec facilities that serve that new development. So essentially, the new development helps to pay for it, but the new development benefits from it. So just a quick overview again, how it's structured. The non-residential portion of it, the fees are set at 20 cents a square foot. The residential fees are $250 per bedroom. Those fees collected since July 1st total a little under $220,000 and are fairly equally distributed among non-residential and residential fee collections. I would point out that this is structured in a way, again, to pay for park improvements that are associated with in close proximity to neighborhoods. So it's divided up into 5 zones. So monies that are collected through development, through the development process and the building permit process, pays for parks and park improvements in very close proximity to where they're collected. So you wouldn't see a fee that was collected on a project south paying for a park development to the north. They are structured in a way where we're building parks, we're acquiring land in the areas where there's development. So want to touch on 3 projects tonight. The Pickleball complex out at Longview. Obviously, there's a lot of anticipation for this. We know how popular pickleball is in our community. The demand is very high for additional outdoor courts. We started construction on this project back in September. You can see generally kind of the layout plan there for the courts. Here's some recent construction photos that we've taken. It is located south of the Longview Community Center. We are going to have built 12 regulation courts with LED lights. There'll be some shade structures with seating. Point out that these are free to use for the public. We'll have a reservation system. All the courts are available first come, first serve. 4 of the courts will be available for reservation through our website. We anticipate the courts to open in February 2026, just in time for the snow to fly. But spring is right around the corner, so we're excited for this. We know this will be a popular amenity. We feel like we've got a very unique layout also that kind of fosters, you can see in the picture in the bottom right-hand corner, we've got a very large shade canopy. That's about a 60-foot wide shade canopy. So we'll have seating underneath that, opportunity for social. Pickleball is a very social sport. And so it's opportunity for people, to socialize and gather in that location. And it's kind of centrally located with the courts. So we're really excited about that. We're very close to wrapping up. Sometimes the devil's in the details, but we're getting there, and we anticipate the courts to open very soon. So I'm going to turn it over to David Dean. He's going to talk a little bit. He's our project manager for the indoor sports complex.
Okay.
Oh, can we stop there and ask
Yeah, sure.
questions
Yeah.
about the pickleball complex and such? Questions from council or board members, commentary? Especially like that part about, it is a social sport. So like I had to get used to that when I started playing. Like everybody really, you're supposed to have a good time.
This is
Board members here.
Thank you. I really wanted to actually make a comment going back a little bit just to the park impact fee. One thing that I think is just important for everybody to recognize about those fees is because that funding mechanism is being used in those zones and in those districts, that allows for the maintenance and modernization of existing park systems. So that mechanism is really for building and developing new park space so that we're not constantly using the park's revenue to create new. We're ensuring that all of our residents across the entire city continue to have really vibrant and sustainable park systems. And I thought that was worth noting.
Okay. Any other questions, comments on this? I do. I'll have questions. So were you there when, like I remember a few years ago, people were really excited about possibility of a pickleball complex, and you got engaged with heavily in your meetings. I mean, you had people sitting all around your room, did you not? Can you tell us about that?
Yes, the pickleball community is a large and engaged community, but they're very collaborative. They wanted to develop a complex that was going to be good for the whole community. It wasn't just about them. So it was a great group of individuals who engage us at several different meetings from that standpoint, always professional, always looking for the greater community in regards to that. So I think going to 12 courts, I think, we kind of vacillated around a little bit there, but we really pushed it, and 12 courts is going to be, it's destination. They'll have all kinds of good stuff going on out there from that standpoint. So, pickleball tournaments and things like that. And if you notice, and if you're familiar, right now we have pickleball courts, but there's a few here, a few here, a few here. This allows for that gathering from that standpoint. So it's going to be a destination. It'll be very busy from that standpoint. So very, very exciting time.
I just wanted to point it out because you listened to them. We didn't really have this in the works, per se, but you saw such a big demand, and then they also made a really nice appeal as far as the benefits, the fact that they were leaving town and going to Olathe or wherever and spending their entire day or weekend in another city. So I appreciate you listening to them and coming to this decision. So, all right, back to you, Mr. Casey.
I have some questions.
No, this is not public comments.
Okay, good evening. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, President Huser, City Council, and Park Board. Appreciate the opportunity to speak about the indoor sports complex tonight. This is obviously a very exciting project for us. It'll be the largest construction project that the Parks and Recreation Department has taken on in a number of years. So really looking forward to it. Currently, we're finishing up the design phase of the project. So we hope to have this out to bid in late March, early April timeframe. With construction to start late summer, early fall, with hopefully opening in late summer, early fall of 2027. So just a few notes on the project. Again, this is located in the Oldham Village development project on the east side of it. The facility right now, it's a little over 98,000 square feet is what we're looking at. It'll have 10 regulation basketball courts, 14 regulation volleyball courts. It'll have a grab-and-go concession operation, meeting space that'll seat up to 250 people. And then it'll have an office suite that'll take care of the operations team as well as a new location for the Parks and Recreation administrative offices. So something I wanted to share with you tonight, I'll be able to show you a fly-through of the facility and that our architects, which is SFS Architecture, put together for us. So this is looking at the complex coming in Fieldhouse Drive into the facility. You'll see a lot of the colors in the facility were kind of based off the oak trees, so you'll see green and the light oak colors. And this is in the atrium as you enter the facility. And then another view of the atrium, looking from the welcome desk back to the front entry.
A lot of great views in the facility. Again, one of the things that we did is separated down the large hallway. It'll be all glass, and that'll help minimize the sound going out to the lobby area. But great viewing for spectators to be able to be seated along that hallway to look out into the gymnasium during events. And then our meeting space there, again, will see 250. Also, we'll be able to host our park board meetings over there on a monthly basis. Again, this is kind of the great shot of the large hallway with lots of seating. There'll be some seating in the gymnasium, but the majority of it will be in the hallway. And then the plaza area out front. Now, some of this is still under refinement. We're about 80 to 85% complete on the plans right now. And kind of nice view as the facility goes dark. Happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Questions from council or comments from anybody? Yes. Yes, Member Ellis.
Okay, so this Fieldhouse has been a great thing to watch over the last few years because we've had about 5 different locations that we've been trying to figure out where it will work best. And being able to redevelop that blighted spot on 50 Highway and 291 South, where all of Oldham Village and everything's going on right there, is just a fantastic opportunity. I know that City Council was very instrumental in helping that happen, and Park Board's very appreciative of all the assistance that happened along the way, because it's going to be an iconic space. You can see the building and what we're trying to put on the ground there, and it's going to be a great thing that's going to be right at the heart of such a major transportation space in Lee Summit. So that, and I will also comment that even pickleball out at Longview was another one of those things where it took a while to figure out where it was going to go. And by waiting, it's really helped us find the most prime spots that we could do. So I just want to thank the staff for all their work that they put on that, and really researched all the different details in order to make that happen.
I know this one is one that also can do tournaments, and you can do volleyball, basketball. You can bring people from the metro, and I remember traveling all over the metro. However, this Fieldhouse is going to provide space for our community with regard to basketball. So can one of the board members, park board members, talk about the fact that, I mean, you're still at this very moment probably having to negotiate with the schools on which half court you can get inside of a little teeny gym. Is that true? Is that true?
I will speak to that because everyone's staring at me. But yes, that is true.
Board Member Crawford.
It's very challenging for youth basketball to get space. So say you play through LSJBA basketball, which is not part of the park system. They will give you anywhere from a basketball goal in an elementary gym or half of a elementary school gym, which is if you've got 2 teams, 20 plus kids, other parents, it doesn't really work. Then plus you try to play all the games for girls basketball at Harris Park. It's just challenging from the years and years that we've done it, plus volleyball and all the other sports. And so being able to have a central location, not only for our youth programs, but for a central geographic location for those coming from south, from whether it be Cass County, Lone Jack, Overland Park, to be able to have a central location to a great field house is very key. And I'll be happy not to drive all over the city anymore and be able to play locally too with my kids. So, yeah.
Well, it's beautiful. It's actually, I was really curious as to the design, because I have traveled and seen a lot of gyms and been crowded in places that had no places to seat, even the big field houses, where you had no place to seat. And I saw the gorgeous hallway where you could be protected, and you even had the barriers up, so you're thinking through the sound and the noise. I mean, well designed, and it looks fantastic. So, any other comments or questions? Okay, I'm excited about this one. Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, I'd just take a minute to touch on some recent master planning that we have completed on some undeveloped property that's been under our ownership for a number of years. Just for context, the property's kind of wedged between 470 and Colburn Road, but adjacent and linked to Discovery Park and also the Unity Village property. So just kind of give you some context. It's 30 acres, heavily wooded, pretty rugged terrain. We completed a master plan. I think the master plan was very much driven with the new development that's going on there with Discovery Park, and of course the Colburn Road improvements, which have just recently been completed. So there's been some impetus to get move this project ahead, and has also been somewhat. Let's get back to our slide here. Slideshow from current slide. There we go. So we had a pretty robust stakeholder input process on this, which is always good for us. We like to be collaborative in our planning. We involved the Unity Village people. We involved R7 School District, Discovery Park, and city staff. There's a potential here for partnership with an adjacent landowner for access, land use and utilities, which helps tremendously because I think one challenge with this property is it has very minimal frontage to Colburn Road. And so we were looking at how we could really connect and link into this park property. So the outcome of the master planning, I think we had to address this from a very passive use standpoint. We're not going to be able to build soccer fields and baseball fields out here because of the terrain. It's probably 95% wooded. So we wanted to be obviously very environmentally conscious and be kind of in a conservation mode with this development project. So we looked at more passive recreational opportunities, walking trails, hiking trails, mountain biking trails. We're looking at some bicycle improvements on the north end of the property. And I'll give you some kind of snapshot visuals of some of the improvements that we're looking. But on the north end of the property, those colored in areas are designed to be more bicycle centric. So there'll be bike paths, there'll be flow courses, there'll be some opportunities for children and bicycle users to use some of these pathways. And then of course we'll offer paths and everything through the site where you've got beginners, intermediate, and advanced riders will be able to use the site. Also looking at future connections to Unity Village. There's an opportunity with that underpass underneath Colburn Road to connect to Unity Village. So again, a great opportunity. I know Unity Village has a lot of trails on their property. So we've talked to them about making connections and expanding on the trail. Trails are the most popular thing we do in Lee Summit. So this is a very trail-oriented plan. But on the south end, we're also looking at where you see the cluster of parking and some of the development areas. We're looking at some traditional play. We're also looking at, and we've seen this in some other parks, regional parks, is this concept of this treetop village or treetop adventure areas on the site. And these last couple slides will give you some visual representation of the programming that we're looking at. Very nature-themed play, opportunities to interact with the stream that runs through the property, of course walking trails, nature play, as I mentioned, discoverable art, shelters, restrooms, all those standard kind of improvements we would bring into a new park development. And I'll share some additional slides. Some of the visuals that you're getting up on the upper tier involve this tree village concept where you're connecting from tree to tree, but you've got these netted walkways, elevated. We've seen some of these parks in some other destination areas. We really feel like this is a once opportunity to do something that's really unique that we don't see in our parks. And it's really driven by the fact that the site offers that to us. It's not intended to be developed with soccer field, like I said, soccer fields and football fields, but it's nature themed. It's oriented around the site, and let's use the topography and the vegetation to develop something unique. So we're excited about this project. We've wrapped up the planning. We'll share it with the park board in a little more detail at our upcoming meeting here in January. And so that essentially wraps up our presentation, and we would be happy to open up any questions.
Okay, so this one, we don't have anything like this, and I know most of our parks. I love Hartman because of the creek that you can have, but it's mostly open. And then Legacy is fantastic, but it's not treated like this, and this is gorgeous. So, comments, questions? Yes, Councilmember Shields.
Just really seconding what the mayor said. Like, this seems fantastic. This seems like such a great complement to what we're already doing in the city. Really filling a gap, I guess, something that we don't see everywhere else. Like, I think this would be such a great addition to Lee Summit and so great for our families, and I hope it's done in time for my son to enjoy. But just purely selfish. No, this looks amazing. Thank you so much for sharing it.
What is the time frame on this?
Well, I think we're looking at that right now. Originally, we had some funding in our CIP that was under our 5-year window, but again, there's some things that are partners, adjacent landowners that are ready to move forward and that will assist us and help us getting the necessary infrastructure to the site. I think probably hear a little more about that tonight, but I think we potentially could be looking at pushing that schedule up a little bit. So perhaps in the next 2 or 3 years, we'll see some activity there.
I think this is a great example of, for me at least, 6 years ago, I believe I had gotten a list of all the parks, and I was like, what is this park? And Joe was like, okay, well, this is some land, and they explained it, and it's just basically trees, and we're not sure what we can do with it yet, but it's something it's available to us. It's 30 acres, it's a sizable piece, but what will you do with it? And you don't know at that time how the city's going to develop and grow, what things are going to be approved, and how fast this can come around, relatively speaking. And from where I thought, to this is going to be an unbelievable park system, and the treescape portion of it, using the nature of it, will really be a differentiator, which will, once again, the park system will attract not only our residents, but visitors from elsewhere. And as they attract to that park, they will then begin to use and leverage the surrounding shops, stores, and et cetera, just like we will see over at the new Fieldhouse. Because if you've been involved in anything like we have with children, you've got a 2-hour break between the volleyball, what are you going to do? And then all of those people will be going right out into those parking lots and leveraging the facilities that are out there, the restaurants, which will just drive revenue and things back to the city. So it's really neat to watch things like this come together. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Lopez.
Just a quick question. You mentioned the trails, for hiking, mountain biking, and all that kind of stuff, walking. Will this be connected to any of the other trail system across the area?
I think obviously the one sort of low-hanging fruit opportunities connect to some of the, as I mentioned, some of the Unity trails. Colburn Road, with a multi-use path, we can make connections out there. And then I think further, there's potential for linkages on our trails plan to connect to the Rock Island, Little Blue Trace Trail, which are regional destinations. So I think it's all about, having worked on our trail system for a number of years, I think it's all about opportunities and finding those linkages, because people want to connect to those bigger trails, those longer trails, like the Rock Island, like the Little Blue Trace. And I think this is an opportunity with development of this site and being trail oriented to kind of further provide those linkages. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Member Zier.
Yeah, this is something that I think those of you who know people who cycle and ride bikes would know that they're going to be really excited about this development. Right now, most people I know who mountain bike, particularly at the kind of green and blue level of trail system that we're talking about here, they will drive over to Kansas right now to access kind of these early beginner level trails. So it's going to be a great amenity to have. I'm really excited to have it. I could already tell you that I would access the Lakewood Loop and then back end on Phelps onto the Little Blue Trace from where this development is. So now I have little kids, so I don't ride much, but this might get me out. And with green trails and pump tracks and, you know, just a progressive jump line, maybe I can even get my daughter on a bike out there, so we'll see.
All right. Anybody else? I do think you commented about how you go, you know, whenever people are between games or whenever they come to the community. I think that I spent a lot of time in other cities' parks because of that. Especially, there was always a long time between baseball games in the summertime and things of that nature. But I think this is going to bring people to our community, like the bike riders and the trail people, because this looks really special. So I'm excited about it. All right. All right. Not seeing any other comments. So, Mr. Casey, thank you so much. Mr. Snook, do you want to say anything? You just going to take a back seat in this, or you?
Well, I mean, how do I add to that? My staff did a great job, great presentation, and you guys had great questions. But a couple of things I would probably add. One, I appreciate Mayor Pro Tem's question about the trail system. Unity Village was a stakeholder in this particular project, and they came to all the meetings. All of our stakeholders were very engaged, and we were very fortunate to have people who are very engaged in these processes. But you think about all the people who'll be living just to the west of this or east of this at Discovery Park. It was mentioned that the Colburn Road has a multi-use path. Well, thanks to Public Work and all their efforts, you know, we have linkages between parks and the trails that we do, along with the multi-use trails. But somebody will be able to get on a bike or walk from Discovery Park all the way to here. Then if we're able to link with Unity Village, and they have a plan to expand their trail system pretty significantly. You know, you could potentially easily have a 10 or 12 mile experience out here. As a mountain biker, that's a great experience, right? And the other thing I would just add, as we're talking about trails, and again, through the partnership with Public Works and Michael and his teams, right now, I'm going to go out on a limb here, Steve, but I believe we have surpassed 100 miles of trails collectively between the city's efforts and the park's efforts. I don't know any other community in the metro area that has 100 miles of trails linking their community up throughout. And that's pretty impressive and something we all should be very proud of. I know we are proud of it at the Parks Department, but the city should also be very proud of that joint effort to get us to over 100 miles of trails. So appreciate everybody's questions and happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Well, that is something to be proud of, so thank you for pointing that out. All right, I'm going to move on then to some city topics. We've got a few of them on here. So the first one is Mr. Parks up here. He's going to talk about stormwater and sales tax.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Michael Park, Director of Public Works, and I don't have a presentation with a lot of pretty pictures, but it was very good what Parks did and quite exciting. So mine's not quite as exciting, but we did work on 2 city council priority goals throughout 2025, and we got some additional work to do here in 2026 on stormwater and solid waste. And these were both initiated, 2 goals initiated by the city council a little over a year ago, but they didn't begin with that initiation. In fact, I'll start with stormwater, and then we'll move on to solid waste and ask questions as I go along. I'm going to be kind of flying at a pretty high level. Stormwater, I think we really started around 1995, give you some perspective. 30 years we've been working on solving our stormwater asset utility issues where we're woefully underfunded. Think of our other major assets like pavements or waters and sewers. We have programs for those, right? So you have inspections, and you've got proactive maintenance, and you got capital projects, and we've not had that for stormwater. I see some faces here that have taken part on citizen strategic plans, the most recent being Ignite. It has been a recommendation of each and every one of those citizen strategic plans to find a funding solution for our stormwater needs. And stormwater goes beyond just our permitting, and it's got public education components to it, it's got capital infrastructure, it's got maintenance. And so we worked through, and you may have been familiar with, a few years ago we were working with the park board or park department and park board members with as one of our stakeholders in a rate, like a user fee basis as one of those funding sources. Throughout the course of this last year, we explored that as a solution. We also reopened other alternatives, being property tax and sales tax. We said, let's first figure out what is the level of service we really want to deliver with this new utility. And it started with just operation and maintenance, and it grew. It grew to include some capital work. It grew to expand our public education component to. It grew so that maybe we can offer new programs for public-private partnership, whether that be just offering resources to inspect private basins to help them comply with stormwater requirements and stormwater quality requirements. We started to expand that and say, well, maybe it's more also to the landscape, street trees and a program, because we've lacked any kind of program for maintaining any of that type of infrastructure. So stormwater is very broad, and it affects everybody in the city of Lee Summit in some way. Whether you're at the top of the hill and you're receiving that water, or you're at the bottom of the hill or a lake community, you're receiving that. And so working through what do we need to solve this issue and deliver that level of service, we arrived at we need to add 2 new crews and equipment. That includes, the operators who are going to do the maintenance, the supervisors, the engineers, the educators, potential partnerships with other organizations for also not just the people and the equipment and the tools, but the supplies, materials, and then as well for smaller capital projects we want to deliver with this fund. And we identified a need of about $6 million starting year 1 to fund that desired level of service. And each one of those funding mechanisms, whether it be a user fee basis, so you're looking at impervious areas, rooftops and driveways and parking lots and calculating their direct impact to a stormwater calculation, or a property tax or a sales tax, the city council arrived at a sales tax is really the preferred way. So there's a lot of benefits to a sales tax. A 1/4 cent sales tax, which is what we are putting on the ballot in August. The ordinance for that ballot measure were passed by the city council this last November. One of the benefits is that we don't really have a whole lot of oversight costs. There's no billing systems, there's no collections, there's no debt that you got to go chase, no oversight board or policies for exemptions and credits and such that you would find with maybe perhaps some of the other ways. And then we also didn't feel like the appetite for maybe a property tax would also be viable within our community. And a sales tax, even a 1/4 cent as being proposed, still keeps the city of Lee Summit's overall sales tax, where you combine all those sales taxes, right kind of in the middle of the pack where we are here in the metro area. So we felt like this seems like a very good solution to take to the voters, see if the voters will make a decision. Do we want to increase our level of service for stormwater? And if so, this is a funding way to do it. We've never got to this point before over our 30 years of chasing strategic plan recommendations to take it to the voters to finally make a decision, one way or the other. And so we will be preparing some public education information leading up to that ballot measure, like we do for any other ballot measure, whether it's a no tax increase bond issue or a new sales tax of any sort. And we'll be visiting different groups. And so maybe we'll see you guys out there too as we kind of talk about the information about what this tax will provide and what it means to the community. So with that, any questions on the stormwater tax? Again, election in August.
Okay, questions, comments? I know that some of the most stressful council meetings we've had have been involved around flooding and over the years that I've been here. So it becomes really difficult as council member, of course, as city staff, when we don't have an issue to address an area that floods. And it floods because of these issues that we're having with stormwater, and some of them have been around for a long time and they've just gotten worse over time. And so with that said, questions or comments? All right, Mr. Park, keep going, sir.
All right, I'll move into kind of the next priority goal that City Council initiated again, and that's solid waste. And solid waste too has been around for some time. We were looking back at least 20 years, probably 25 years, that it too has found its way into citizens' strategic plans, including the most recent Ignite plan that I'm sure many of you are familiar with, or maybe you were even engaged in developing these recommendations. And this is to explore how can we be better stewards in the community with regard to solid waste. How can we maybe get lower prices for our residents and better service when it comes to residential solid waste collection. And so over the course of this last year, we really fully explored that, of what those services would look like and how we could bring that forward to the community. It's a city council decision. And we have identified what that level of service would look like, and is the basis of a request for proposals that eventually will go out for market competition to see what pricing could be delivered for a hauler. Now, we engaged with HOAs, we engaged with residents and had town hall meetings, we engaged with the haulers, we engaged with industry professionals and peer communities, because this isn't new, right? So contracting solid waste services, and this, I want to be clear, only affects residential properties, not commercial services. It's common. In fact, more than half of the communities in the metropolitan area contract. Even our neighbor nearby, like Greenwood, is our closest, and many others do. So contracting isn't new. And what we did also find out is that about a third of our city already contracts through an HOA. And we saw in those discussions with HOAs, they value that contract, and in this proposal, they would be allowed to continue contracting. They could also opt into the city's contract. As long as their contract is continuous, they could keep doing it, but if there's a break in service, there's no back and forth, if you will. So roughly a third of our community will have the option to continue contracting with who they continue, or maybe a new contract. And I think that still achieves the objectives of what the City Council was looking for, right? Reducing the number of trucks in the neighborhoods, increase safety by reducing the number of trucks, increase the aesthetic appeal of our neighborhoods by having single collection days, potentially reducing price. We do believe that prices will be reduced. In fact, we've got that from our survey data of HOAs and peer communities who contract. It's substantially less than what subscription services are offered to individuals. And we won't know that for sure with any certainty until we get proposals received and reviewed. And so in the end, we gathered this, we assembled this, working with many stakeholders in the community to deliver really a proposal to the City Council. Do you want to proceed with this or not? And because there was a lot of difference in the community, the City Council has put this also out to an election, more of an advisory election in November. Tonight, the second reading for that election is on the agenda. And then following that advisory vote by the citizens of Lee Summit, the City Council could then take action on a proposal contract that would then be implemented at some point between July of 2027 and July of 2028. So we've already given our required statutory notice to all the haulers within the city of Lee Summit, and we can't, due to those state regulations, start service or start any implementation prior to that July 2027 date. But we can't do it also any later than that July of 2028 date. So that kind of gives you a time frame of, if passed, if supported by the voters, if then contracted by the City Council, when that implementation period might occur. And I'd be happy to answer any questions on that topic as well.
Questions, comments? Okay. Yes. Board Member Ellis.
Michael, this was on the strategic plan so many years ago, and it was one thing we never got done on it, and it's great to see it actually come full circle. And I know that a lot of HOAs have their own services and their own contracts with it. I think that's probably the biggest, most important thing to listen on is that when people have something good, they don't want to let it go. And I think this is really, it sounds like you're going to be doing a lot of information, fact-finding from the people who don't, because that's what I hear from people who don't have the service, and they have trash trucks going up and down the street all week, every day.
Right.
And I think that's the ultimate goal, is to get it organized in every neighborhood, like some of the subdivisions have the benefit of having. So I'm glad you're tackling it again, and I'm glad that you're getting input, and I guess I would just continue to encourage that open dialogue so that nobody's really feeling pushed out, but maybe a better organized way of managing the solid waste.
Yes, and leading up to that November election, we will similarly go out to the community and talk to groups, providing information about what the service would look like, the implementation schedule, answering questions, providing information.
Okay. Yes, Member Crawford.
Mr. Park, can you go into a little more depth about how it would work with an HOA? You said that if there's a break in contract, what is that?
So,
what does that mean?
So roughly a third of our community is within an HOA that contracts. We have another probably 20 to 30% of our community that is in an HOA that doesn't contract. And what we would say is that if you contract, you can change your provider that's fine. Or you can continue with your provider, that's fine. But you wouldn't be able to opt into the city and then change your mind and go back to contracting, if that makes sense.
So that makes sense, yeah. Going from private provider to the city and then back to a private provider.
Right, because we have to provide some assurances to a contractor of what their base customer is. And going into a contract, they know who's contracting, and they would have the option to join into a contract and gain customer, which is a good thing. What we don't want is them to lose customers, because that could affect a bid.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, I think we're going to push on. I think we have one more topic tonight. Mr. Park, thank you.
Thank you.
Providing the updates to us. And now we've got Mr. Head, our lead attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. President Huser, thanks for having me tonight. Just been asked to speak a little bit about where things stand with the Charter Commission presently. I'll give you a little brief history before we jump into that. Section 14.8 of the Charter does require that every 10 years the city convene a Charter Review Commission. And so that process started really over a year ago with our Rules Committee that established a process for how we would go about appointing those individuals. We did utilize the same process that we have for a number of times, but we did set it out in an actual city ordinance now. So we have that instead of just a resolution. So early this fall, the commission was formally formed, and appointments were made by council members. As you know, each council member is able to nominate one individual for the Charter Commission, and then the 2 council members for each district are allowed to jointly nominate an additional. So we have 3 members from each district. So back in October, we had sort of an introductory meeting, an orientation meeting to discuss with them about, you know, what it meant to be on the charter, what a charter commission, what a charter actually is, how they work, those kinds of things. We had that discussion. And then just last night, we had our first meeting of the actual charter commission itself. Their first order of business was to elect a chair and a vice chair. And so I'm happy to report to you that previous council member Andrew Felker was elected as the chair. And Michael Van Buskirk was elected as the vice chair last night. So now the process begins where we start to march through the actual charter itself. In previous time, 10 years ago, I was here when we did the charter review. They sort of just marched through from front to back. And along the way, we picked up some topics that were a little controversial and required more discussion, and we paused and we discussed those, we settled those, and we moved on to the next section. So I would anticipate that this group will be no less thorough than what we have done in the past. And for the Parks Board here, as you all know, Article 8 of the Charter is the Parks and Recreational Board section. So one of our processes is to reach out to departments, and we'll of course do that with Parks, to see if there are any tweaks, small changes that need to be made to that language. We always find things that maybe we thought were clear, but maybe aren't as clear as we thought, and we try to correct those things. Also, individual members of Charter Commission may have some ideas about how structurally they would like to change things. Across the board, I don't necessarily mean with Parks, so to speak. And there will be opportunities for the public to provide input as well as to how they would like to see their Lee Summit City Council, Parks, Finance Department, Law Department, all of us, and how we can operate and work together. So that process is just getting started. On the other end of this, they will continue their work from now kind of through the summer and early fall. I would anticipate in early to mid-fall, we will probably have identified those items that need to be possibly amended or that they want to recommend for amendment. At that time, we will be putting together ballot, because any item that we change in the charter does have to go in front of the voters to be changed. So you should anticipate that ballot being finalized by the City Council probably in December or early January, around this time next year. And it would be an April 2027 ballot.
Questions, comments about the charter review? Did you all know that we were having those discussions and such? Okay. I figured you did. All right. Mr. Head, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Dunning, you want to add anything to tonight's conversation? Or any comments?
Yeah, just real briefly, I know there's been a lot of good work going on by Mr. Snook and his staff and the park board with regard to World Cup. So same thing with the mayor and the council and city staff. That's a lot of preparations, a lot of thought needs to go into that. And let's face it, right, we all can benefit from having visitors to our amenities in the parks and to the city and the like. So very much appreciate all the work that's gone into that. We know Legacy Blast, right? That's a partnership with parks, and that's going to be a big one with it being the 250th. So a lot of good work going on in that space. And then I'd circle back to the stormwater, the stormwater utility and that quarter-cent sales tax that will be going to the vote. And I want to recognize and create that awareness that there's a limit on parks and stormwater tax of a half-cent, right? And so we know that parks has a quarter-cent, and it comes up for renewal in 2033, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And then if, right, the stormwater goes in at that quarter-cent, that one is not sunset. So that's another partnership, right, with those resources that we appreciate. And I know in the stormwater space, there's plenty of opportunities where our stormwater conveyance systems can be used as parks and things like that. So I just wanted to mention that too, just for everybody's awareness. That's it. Thanks, Mayor.
Yeah, no, those great comments. Okay. President Huser, you want to maybe do a roundtable and see what anybody would like to say or comment on, or you don't have to speak, but I think that this night's important again because we get to come together, we get to talk about commonality or things that we have in common, and we have so much in common, and so much of our decision-making affects each other, and it certainly affects our brand. We share the same brand, parks, the city. Most of our community sees us as one, and we certainly share the same citizens. So I appreciate you working with us this way and working with Joe Snook the way that you do, the way that we do with Mark Dunning. We're really fortunate to have two strong leaders that really get the job done, whatever we ask of them. So I'll go around and then let you speak last. Yeah. Anybody want to make any comments this side? Yes. Jim, a little bit.
No, I won't repeat what you both already said. I just think these sessions are critical and so helpful, not only for us around this table, but for the community. This is a perfect example of everything that's been presented, of how when we work together in a cohesive, strategic manner, we accomplish good things. So it's just a perfect example of that, and I look forward to these sessions with you all as we do with the school board. And so, yeah, thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
I guess I'm just going to repeat my colleagues, but mainly just to thank the members of the park board for your service, for your dedication to the community, and for all the good work that you guys are doing. Like, we're so excited seeing all these projects coming forward and so much progress being made on them. So I know you guys just do this because you love it, because you're passionate, and I appreciate you. So thank you.
Thank you. I do want to say, acknowledge the City Council and thank you for tonight. And Mayor Baird, you're such a great partner. As mentioned, school board, park board, these kinds of alliances, to your point, Councilman Lopez, really identify our focus on a better future for Lee Summit and for all the people that live here and enjoy all this. I also want to take a minute to acknowledge Joe Schnook and his staff, who do an excellent job in executing all these plans and really making things happen. And I love all of our parks and all of the amenities that are provided, so many different programs. And I feel like when I hear about all the new things that are coming up in the future, it just identifies how there's something for every member of our community to enjoy and love about our parks. And that is exciting, you're right. And it makes it fun to be a volunteer as a part of this. So thank you for tonight, and thank you for the continued partnership, because that's really important for our future and strategic planning.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you guys for being here tonight. And I mean, one thing got left out when we were talking about our parks was the award-winning parks. I don't think I heard that tonight, so I wanted to reiterate that. And this Unity Village project, I mean, that's a catalyst for our community. That's awesome. It's going to be great. And thank you guys for serving, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Yeah, just to reiterate some things that have been said, I'm just really excited about the development. And You know, none of this kind of parks development can happen in a silo without support from the city. I am a frequent flyer at the newest park, Red Hawk Park, and that has really become a cornerstone of our community down there. I go down there in the winter, and if it's over 50 degrees, there's probably 40 or 50 kids playing out there from 2 years of age all the way up to young teenagers playing basketball in the courts who could go be doing dozens of other things, but that's what they're choosing to do, is spending time in our parks. So it really is a place of safety and security where we can let kids be kids, and that doesn't happen in a silo. So thank you.
Thank you.
This is my 37th year in Lee Summit, and I couldn't be more prouder selecting this community as my home for my wife and my family, and sitting around a table like this with very able-bodied people who love this community just as much as I do. Mayor, thank you as well, and thank you to the City Council and my co-brethren who labor with us on the Park Board. But again, thank you. And thank you for the dinner back there. I appreciate that as well.
No problem. Yeah.
Just
There
briefly.
was hardly any dinner left after he ate, though. This next guy.
Man, just getting thrown under the bus. It's got to be a big bus, though. All right. Thank you to the Park Board. I've been on Park Board for about 8 or 9 years now, and so I've appreciated all my time on there. And thank you to the City Council for everything you do and supporting it. President Huser and Mayor Baird, thank you as well. And to echo what you had mentioned earlier, Mayor Baird, the Fieldhouse, I think, is going to be a long-time staple for the community. It's centrally located. It's going to be in the heart of a new development of an area that's been, I've been at Lee Summit for 15 years, and that area has been blighted for that entire time. I think that is going to be very cool, and I'm glad that I get to be a part of that, something where people from around the metro come to our city. I think that's just a really cool thing. So I appreciate to be a part of that.
I'm glad you chose the location you did, because you are bringing them to the heart of the community.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank all of you for being here. I sit on the parks as a liaison for the council, and I just got to say, this is a really great group of people. They are very dedicated to what they do, and they're volunteers. And so I'm thankful that they are helping us with our parks and staying diligent with what they're doing. I was so impressed when I went to the meeting and they talked about what they were doing for the World Cup. They came up with so many things that I don't think any of us ever thought of. So, I mean, they are very, very creative and diligent, and they're going to knock it out of the park with the Unity Village Park. So just appreciate everything that you're doing and continue the good work. And thank you. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you.
Mayor, President, thank you so much for continuing these annual joint meetings. No matter how many times I'm blessed to hear all of the plans and projects, it's still exciting every single time. And it's good for me to hear the city side too, because while I can read about it and hear about it, seeing and being here in person is just that much better. So thank you so much for this opportunity, and look forward to more continued good things. Thanks.
Thank you.
No, you're good. Thank you. First, my family uses the park system probably at least weekly, if not several times a week. I love our parks. And then I feel like you guys knew this question was coming, but water at the softball fields and baseball fields and soccer fields, to be able to fill up the water bottles at all the water fountains. I think that would be good. And then food trucks at, especially on tournament weekends at the soccer stadium, like at the soccer, I would love, and I know that's probably Mr. Snook's thing, but I would love food trucks. I hear that all the time during tournament weekends, that we need food trucks there during tournament weekends. But I love our parks. I'm proud to, when anywhere you go in the metro, and you mentioned that you're from Lee Summit, people know our parks. They come here for our parks. So thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate everybody's time here. I just want to say on behalf of the team, and I see Corey and Donnie, they're here, or who are on the leadership team for the World Cup preparations with LS Goal 26. The Draw Day event was such a huge success, and I know a lot of you were there. It was great to see Green Street getting utilized the way that it was. You're going to get more of a full report on that next week, but more than anything, I just wanted to say thank you to Joe and his team, Ryan especially, who was out there slaving away with those big inflatables, trying to put them away at the end of the night. And it was a lot of fun with everybody involved, and to see the community engagement of not only people that are actively wanting to help with all the World Cup preparations, but to see them come out and be engaged with that kind of event. It's just a little tiny indication of what's going to happen in June and July of this year. So we're excited about that. Thank you to the city for offering that space and help out with that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Wow, we've said a lot tonight. I will talk to these people out here and anybody else who's listening online or whatever, but if you haven't been to one of our parks or one of our facilities recently, I would ask that you go and talk to your friends and family and go to one of the trails, go to one of the parks that we've recently opened or one that's just nearby you. Go on the website and look at all of the different things we offer, because I think one of the things that I talk about with Mr. Snook and our fellow board members is, if the people in Lee Summit just knew all of the things that we have and all of the things that we do, if you would just go to one concert at the amphitheater in the summer. I mean, most of these things are free, if not really low cost, and they are fantastic. So I would say to all of you, if you've heard all the things tonight, if you do anything, just go to a park and just see it, and then tell your friends. But thank you so much. Thank you for everything.
That was good. Thank you.
All right, well, I will say thank you again to the council members for your support through the years. When I mentioned earlier that we have 33 parks and our facilities, they are woven through the community. And sometimes you all represent the Parks Department when your constituents talk to you about those, because they're in their communities, which are your communities. And so I thank you for supporting us when those questions come your way as well. I want to thank Mayor Baird here, because the communication in my time has increased dramatically between the Parks Department and the city itself and the individuals in your chairs. And I think that's important, because as I mentioned, those parks are in your department or within your districts. And I think it's important for you to know that, hey, we're dredging a pond and we're going to move that all out, and it's going to probably make some people go, what's going on? But it's important for you to be in the loop, so that when Casey calls, you'll be able to talk to him about that. But there are things going on, and sometimes these parks are deep within a individual neighborhood that you don't even know it's there. Red Hawk is deep back in there, and it is wonderful. That ribbon cutting had more people at it than any of the cuttings we've had so far, and we have a lot of engagement. So I recognize sometimes the shoes that you fill in representing us, because these parks are within your districts, and I thank you for that. And I just want to end with saying to Joe and his leadership team, who's pretty much sitting up here, they're the ones that make it happen. They make it happen in the form that it's their job to execute on, but the amount of things that they do and their teams do as individual contributors in the development of parks, putting together equipment, helping do things as opposed to hiring it out, is amazing. The engagement we have with our team and our leadership team within the Parks Department is fantastic, and that's what makes Lee Summit, what's the code? Truly, yours truly.
We're going to talk about that later tonight. We're going to talk about that later.
That might be the last time you hear that. So thank you very much.
That was good. He's sneaky. He knows what he's doing there. No, it was wonderful. You guys, thank you for your comments, for collaborating tonight, and keep doing your fiduciary duty like you have been. And we do have great staffs, but we need us to make decisions, put the final approval on things, transparency, checks and balances. So thank you for this evening. At this point, we will take a break, and then the council will go back up on the dais and do conduct the rest of the meeting. So we'll just take a short recess so we can say goodbye to you guys and get adjusted on the dais. We'll reconvene in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Thank you.
Ever wondered how the city budget works? The total 2026 budget is over $380 million, which includes funding for daily operations, capital improvements, debt service, internal service, and enterprise operations. For example, The general fund is the foundation for the city's day-to-day services and investments like road maintenance, public safety, and fire protection. The general fund is supported by property taxes, sales taxes generated by local businesses, franchise taxes, and other sources like licenses, permits, and fees. For every dollar citizens pay in property tax, the city receives 18 cents. This means the city receives $845 a year in property taxes for a median single-family house. These taxes provide public safety, park maintenance, infrastructure, and the best services to keep Lee Summit going and improving. One of the community's top priorities is infrastructure investment, which is reflected in the capital improvement plan. $113 million of the 2026 budget is invested into the capital improvement plan. The 2026 capital improvement budget includes investments like the 291 and 50 highway interchange, 3rd Street, Ward and Persels intersection, and Pryor Road. The budget process includes guidance from the City Council, citizen input, and critical success factors from the city's Ignite strategic plan. To learn more about the city's budget, visit cityofls.net/budget.
When the person called on the phone, she said that there was a dinosaur walking down her road. Of course, we had to go out and check that out. We get out there, and it was a big African tortoise, probably 60 pounds, walking down the road. When they walk, they really stand up tall, so I could see why she thought it was a dinosaur. I'm Rodney Wagner. I'm the manager of Lee Summit Animal Control. So as you can see, we get all sorts of animals here. You got some guinea pigs off to the side. All the windows up here are animals that are adoptable right now. Every one of these dogs is ready to go and ready for adoption. And the same thing with our cats over here. A lot of cool cats in here now, so this is our 3-acre lot we have out back. This is where we do all the walking of dogs, exercise. We also have a side yard off to the side over there, so we can let them run loose. They can run together, and we have what's called play groups. Kind of like having a bunch of kids. Here's our vet room. We have a vet that comes out twice a week. This is our Sally Port where we bring the animals into. This is one of our animal control trucks, and we can hold up to 6 animals. We have a lift on the other side to put big animals in. We actually have temperature gauges in here and in the truck to tell us how hot it is. Once it gets to a certain temperature, we bring all the animals back here immediately. So this actually has traps in it, but we do a lot of wildlife trapping. I mean, a lot. So bats, pot-bellied pigs, horses, cows, emus, a lot of reptiles. We had a citizen one time that had over 200 reptiles in his basement. Caimans and alligators in here that are 4 or 5 feet long. You can't keep those. And people do, and they're surprised when they can't keep them. I'm like, really? You're surprised you can't have an alligator in your house? Our main goal here is public safety and also the safety of the animals. And we have very dedicated people back there, and they definitely stay here for the love of the animals, which also includes getting them adopted out. We'll have about 4,000 impounded animals a year. Probably about close to 2,000 are dogs and cats. The cats and dogs, when they get impounded here, they go on a 5-day hold. And then after the 5 days, if the owner doesn't show up, then we can put them up for adoption. To adopt an animal here is actually really simple. You just come in, look for whatever animal you're looking for, find the right pick. You go to the adoption room up there and see if you get along with them. You spend as much time as you want to in there. From that point on, it's just a matter of making sure they're spay or neutered and all their vaccinations up to par and they're good to go. We have a very high adoption rate because we try everything in our power to get animals adopted out. We have Heart of America Humane Society that we do a lot of adoptions through. And then we also have other groups. We have some people that literally will just look all over the country for somewhere for a dog to go. And we sent dogs up into South Dakota, North Dakota, Washington State. So it's actually, it's a huge united effort to get all these animals home.
Tarzan's got lots of energy. Hazel's got a weird meow. Belle, she wants nothing to do with the other cats. She'll kind of get her grumpy face going.
And the good thing about the people here is that they get all their friends to get animals too. All of us have probably the limit of all the animals that we can have at home. You know, they are huge animal lovers. If it was up to the people here, we'd have 15 cats running around in here. We had a citizen one time out there, and he was bathing his two 9-foot-long boa constrictors in the front yard. Apparently, I was garnering some attention, and so we went out there and had to have a talk with him about that. Why do I do this job? Oh, dude, I love this job. I grew up on a farm, and taking care of that many animals, you can't help but like animals. This is just like fancy farming. You know, you're just bringing animals in here, taking care of them, and find them homes, and yeah, absolutely animal lover.
This is the best place to work.
I love working here.
I feel very blessed.
I love it here. I look forward to coming to work every day, being a part of this team.
Like a family away from home.
Where everyone feels like everybody knows their name.
A city that supports you. We see that with our benefits.
A pension, vacation days, job security.
Being able to be heard.
We feel valued. We feel respected.
Lee Summit is a very progressive city.
It's growing, it's thriving.
We have this drive towards not just doing a job, but doing it with a spirit of excellence. I had the opportunity to continue to grow, regardless of 30 plus years doing this kind of work.
It's more than just dollars and cents.
We're here really to give back.
Providing a service to better a community.
To go out and serve people.
To be a part of something bigger than yourself. If I would have known what I know now, years ago, I would have been here much sooner.
Traditionally, we think as police officers, those responding to law enforcement needs within the community. But honestly, we are there to serve our citizens, and our citizens do go into crisis. They do have mental health crises, and we're being called to those scenes on a regular basis. In order to help serve those citizens better, we did initiate the Crisis Intervention Team Program. These are officers that are specially trained to de-escalate crisis situations. Recently, we've brought co-responders onto the scene, licensed qualified mental health professionals housed within our police department, and they respond with those officers directly to those scenes where a crisis is occurring so they can interact with that citizen and get them the help they need right there on that scene.
The co-responders are either bachelor or master level in a behavioral health related field. They wear plain clothes, they don't carry weapons or anything like that.
I have a police radio that I listen to all day. Listen for, those key words, mental health, behavioral health, crisis.
There's a lot of officers that just call for me. I have my own radio number.
I also have the ability to self-dispatch to them and say 982 is en route.
Officers en route, 914, Armstrong.
So typically I arrive after they've made it safe. I'll make contact and get kind of the rundown, and then I just kind of jump right in.
Like, hey, my name's Allison. I'm a mental health professional. I'm here to help you. I'm not here to take you to jail or arrest you.
Sometimes all a person needs is a voice, someone neutral, someone outside that, can listen. I do a lot of safety planning, including family, their support network, who's close to you. If they're home alone, who can come over and hang out with you today? Can we lock away your sharps? Can we put up your meds? Do you need meds? Can we get you over to the urgent care to get you assessed for your medications? Some of them also are like, oh, I'm so glad you came. This made me feel so much better.
Our main goal as co-responders is to, one, get people connected to the services that they need, and also divert from emergency rooms and jails.
And they almost get a different view of the police responding. That lets me know you care and the officers care.
Please, please, how can we help you?
My husband has...
In 2020, we had 722 mental health related calls for service. 2022, by that time, 1,479. These mental health related calls for service are increasing. How we're responding to that is increasing the number of crisis intervention team officers we have available, as well as the number of co-responders we have available to respond on these calls.
So what I think is important for the community to know about the co-responder program is that we're here, we exist. All you have to do when you call 911 is ask for us. Say, hey, I want a co-responder to respond to this crisis, and we'll go. I was really struggling about 8 years ago on my personal journey with mental health, and I met some amazing social workers and amazing programs that have helped me get to where I am today. I really couldn't see myself doing anything else. We want to help, and that's what we love to do.
So I had a client, we got a call, she had some suicidal ideations, and she really felt that she had nobody. And and getting to know her story and getting to know who comes around and sees you, well, then we found a support person and they responded immediately. And we made a plan. I called back and checked on her in an hour, and then I checked on her in 2 hours. We were able to get her into the additional services to where she talks to someone every week or more. I just took a person that really just thought they had nobody and nobody would show up for them, and show them you do. And you'll be amazed who is in your corner if you just simply say, I need a little help.
You can make the difference in somebody else's life.
If you're trying to get into the fire and EMS service, Lee Summit is probably the top name.
On a daily basis, we are tasked with an incredible task. So we're trying to keep it a relaxed environment.
As a new person, you are constantly on edge, learning.
The morning will look typical, coming in, getting a report from the shift that's going off. We get our truck checks done.
Our citizens trust us and believe in us by providing amenities like our gear, our stations.
They build it to accommodate getting to a call, but also having a home. State-of-the-art weight equipment.
Individual bunk rooms.
Downtime areas.
Breakfast and dinners together.
Cook together.
Get to know one another.
Train together.
Like a brother knows a brother and a sister knows a brother. Banter back and forth, but when the tones go off, they go to work.
We're here for 48 hours, so it can happen at any time. You can be in the gym. You can be in the middle of the night. You can be cooking.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
Wherever we are in the station,
people will stop what they're doing and listen, finding out which station it is.
What is the nature of the call?
EMS, fire.
What apparatus?
Where are we going?
Is it in my district?
To be on the highway.
Am I assisting somebody?
The expectations.
What gear do I need?
Are the lives involved?
That adrenaline dump.
Adrenaline rush.
Pants on, coats on, getting in the truck. We're mentally focused,
geared up,
paying attention to where we're going. And we have a game plan that happens in the truck. The officer can give direction, and the dispatcher will update you. The officer will listen, the driver will listen. We get all on the same page, and when we get to the call, we can go to work. So many degrees of severity: structure fire, swift water rescue,
EMS,
car accident,
technical rescue,
TAC medic team. The equipment the fire department offers us is top-notch, from ring cutters to extrication equipment. State-of-the-art stuff, great trucks.
tablet, Lucas device, battery-powered pot.
The right tools, the right training. The learning does not stop in the academy.
Building blocks continue call after call. Opportunities to grow. Started out as a firefighter paramedic, moved to the rank of engineer paramedic, most recently the qualification of acting captain.
Firefighter, engineer, recently promoted to captain.
Promoted to paramedic since I've been here. I'll be honest, it's scary sometimes. You're the one back there. That person is having a bad day and they're counting on you.
We practice these scenarios over and over, so when someone has an emergency, we can channel those energies, minimizing any more injury. And then when it's over, we'll say, hey, how did we do? How is everyone doing? And we'll have frank conversations back at the station. The station assignment for us is a 48 on, 96 off.
The 4 days off is probably one of the greatest things ever.
Help us improve our sleep patterns, wellness, mental health. It gives you many, many options.
I have a small little 15 acres that we like to hobby farm, backpacking in the spring and in the fall. Mountain biking when the weather's good.
I have a 21-month-old at home, so I feel like I get to work a full-time job and then on the 4 days off, be a stay-at-home mom as well.
Spend a little more time with my kids, travel around the world. I was able to take my oldest daughter on a trip of a lifetime. We went to Europe for 22 days. I got hired to help others. Helping others also helped me see my children grow, see my family grow, see my career grow, and me grow as a person.
People that are in the industry know the name of Lee's Summit Fire Department. Every fire academy knows it, every other fire department knows it. If you're looking for a job in the fire service, Lee's Summit's the place to be.
That's who you want to be. Somebody who can make positive change in other human beings' lives.
Okay. All right. Welcome back, everyone. We're going to bring this meeting back to order. Bringing this meeting back to order, please. We are on the agenda item 4A. So that would be the approval of the consent agenda. I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda by Councilmember Shields, seconded by Councilmember Funk. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. Passes 6-0. So yes, we are shorthanded tonight by 3 board council members. The next item on the agenda is the council roundtable. Items of general interest, things going on in your community. Councilmember Funk.
Thank you, Mayor. Tomorrow evening will be the first session of 2026 for the Lee Summit Youth Court. We'll start tomorrow evening.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Shields.
I believe, Mayor, you may have a big event coming up this week. Is it the Character Breakfast on,
Oh, yes.
on Thursday?
Yeah, that's right. Thursday's the Mayor's Character Breakfast, where we celebrate people doing great things in our community, characteristics that we want to shine a light on. So we have role models that we'll be honoring with regard to compassion and integrity and generosity and more. So it's going to be a wonderful morning, Thursday morning. Put on by Lee Summit Cares. Thank you for that. Okay, next we have public comments. We've got a few tonight. So I'll start with Mr. Elson. We got quite a few people in the crowd. We do 3 minutes for public comments for people in the community that want to talk about things that are on the agenda, things that are operations.
things and operations of the city. Mr. Ellison.
Andrew Ellison, 504 Northwest Timber Ridge Trail. As a resident of Lee Summit, I am formally raising serious concerns about the city's public comment process and the message it sends about whose voices matter. The escalation of public comment to police intervention at a recent meeting highlights a critical breakdown in our civic process. Regardless of anyone's opinion about that individual, the fact that public comment escalated to police intervention should concern this council. That outcome reflects a breakdown in process, not merely a breakdown in decorum. The underlying issue is a structural imbalance in participation. Developers and applicants are routinely afforded two-way dialogue with staff and council. Questions are asked, clarifications are invited, and positions are explored. Residents, by contrast, are often expected to speak without engagement or acknowledgement. In many instances, public comment is treated as a procedural obligation rather than a meaningful part of decision-making. This disparity is noticeable and damaging. Equally troubling is a lack of clear, accessible guidance for residents. The city does not plainly publish or explain the rules governing public comment, including how general comments differ from public hearings. Residents are left to infer expectations. A prime example being Section 2-50 of the Code of Ordinances. It's confusing, to say the least, as it appears to only address video conferences. When rules are unclear or inconsistently enforced, conflict is not anomaly, it is inevitable. A public comment system that is one-directional, opaque, and unevenly applied does not support productive civic engagement. It breeds frustration. When that frustration leads to police involvement, it signals institutional failure, not simple individual misconduct. This is not a call for disorder, it's a call for clarity, fairness, and respect. I urge this council to refer these procedural concerns to the Rules Committee for immediate review and public documentation. Specifically, I urge you to 1, direct staff to create a digital public comment guide on the city's website that clearly documents the rules governing public comment and public hearings. 2, ensure those rules are applied consistently and transparently. And 3, following allowances in Section 2-45 of the Code of Ordinances, evaluate reasonable structured opportunities for clarification or limited dialogue between City Council and public commenter so residents are acknowledged rather than dismissed. Simple changes would make measurable difference. A clarifying question, a brief acknowledgement, a signal that the comment was heard. These are not burdensome requests. They are basic elements of respectful conversation and good governance. Residents should not leave council meetings feeling ignored, confused, or intimidated. They should leave knowing their city values their participation. Improving this process is necessary to restore trust and ensure these meetings genuinely serve the public. Thank you for your time and service to your community.
All right, thank you. Ms. Giddings.
Debbie Giddings. I would like to inform the citizens of Lee Summit the Planning Commission will continue to review the proposed Mill House apartment complex at 150 and Ward Road on January 22nd at 5 p.m. in the City Council chambers. The applicant has requested this continuation. The proposal would have 6 three-story buildings for 180 apartments and 1 four-story building for 92 apartments. Additionally, there will be 2 garages in the house that house 20 cars. 275 total apartments across the street to single-family homes. A request to decrease the number of parking spaces versus the city code is included in their request. The view to the south will be blocked because the building heights and will be 8 feet above the Ward Road, making the appearance massive. I encourage citizens to review the Mill House Company's website and/or watch the original presentation by Mill House to the Planning Commission. This would be the first time in Missouri they will be building in a suburban area versus downtown urban Kansas City. Of the 8 apartments built in Kansas City, they have already sold 4. Their website shows the number built out of state and the number sold. All of Tennessee and Wisconsin have been sold. The concern should be, despite being told these will be operated and maintained by Millhouse, that doesn't always appear that that is the case. Could this happen in Lee Summit? The presentation before the Planning Commission can be viewed on the city's website. The website is difficult to navigate and find the meeting videos, but basically, the city government tab has the meeting subhead. Click on that, and the meeting agenda's minutes. Select and look for the Planning Commission on December 11th, 2025. On the agenda, scroll to the bottom and click on F 2025-7339 to find the video. The appearance of citizens at the meeting and/or writing the council members of your concern do have an impact. The Planning Commission unanimously did not approve the Ward and Hook proposal last week. There were numerous people that spoke in this public hearing. They all opposed the plan. It might work that for the 150 and Ward, apartments and commerce and gas stations that were fast food at the previous one would work on the apartments at Ward as well. Remember, January 22nd, 5 p.m. at City Hall, and I'm sure many people hope you can make it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Alchawish.
Tonight, the City Council will approve a $110 million subsidy and incentive package for Drake Development on the East Village project. Between this project, Oldham Village, and streets of West Pryor, that brings the total value to $205 million in subsidies provided to Drake since 2019. This means over $200 million in tax revenue has been diverted towards a single developer and away from our police and fire departments and away from the basic services taxpayers are entitled to, such as road maintenance and water management. And as much as the council wants residents to believe that these subsidies don't impact the taxpayer, the truth is they certainly do. This money doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes at the expense of our public services. This is evidenced by the fact that the city has levied several new taxes on the residents over the past few years, including multiple CID taxes on all grocery stores, the use tax levied in 21, public safety tax in 2022, and now the new stormwater tax that you're putting on the ballot in November. These taxes hurt all of the residents of Lee Summit, but they are devastating to our most vulnerable citizens. I can't tell you how many retirees I've spoken to over the last few weeks that are on a fixed income and are being priced out of Lee Summit and priced out of the homes that they've owned for decades. And the lack of empathy that most of our city council shows for these residents is horrific. But it doesn't just hurt the residents of Lee Summit, it hurts the businesses as well. When residents carry heavier tax burdens, they have less money to spend with our local businesses. And this has been reflected by the lower sales tax numbers we've seen recently. Now, many on the council argue that you are approving these developments based on long-term benefits it will provide the community. The truth is, you are doing this based on your own self-serving short-term benefits. Bill, you vote for them because these developments benefit your commercial real estate company. Beto votes for them because he has commercial development background and commercial development ties. Donnie votes for them because he owns a construction company, and new developments mean new construction opportunities. Lovell's conflicted as well, but at least he has the integrity to recuse himself from the voting. And Bill, you should recuse yourself. Multiple sources have brought to my attention that you have a business relationship with Drake, that you've sold property to them, the 3rd and Grain building. And I did some research and it checks out. So I want to know, how did that building go from being under your ownership to being under Drake's ownership? How much did they pay you for it? And how much profit did you clear? Did that transaction serve as some kind of monetary kickback so that you would give Drake $200 million in taxpayer money? The residents of Lee Summit are more than aware that there are conflicts of interest and ulterior motives here. And to say they are fatigued of it is an understatement. The residents are approaching a boiling point, and justifiably so. And while things may appear calm to you now, anger and resentment is growing fast. And I believe a reckoning is coming for all of you that are involved in these corrupt practices.
All right, thank you. For the record, I have no business relationship with Drake Development. Yes, I sold the building to them. It was a transaction many, many years ago. It was a typical transaction. And as far as attacking people with no proof, the little boy who cried wolf continues to do this, and on social media and here. These people have unblemished records up here, including myself, 12 years of service in public, almost 12 years. You'll have to think about how to be a role model, a civic leader in this community, rather than just going around pointing fingers at people, accusing them of having conflicts of interest when we have a duty to disclose any conflict of interest. And I have no conflict of interest to disclose because there is not one. Councilmember Funk?
Mayor, just a point of clarification for the public commenter. I do not own a construction company. I own a demolition company. I build nothing. I have nothing to do with any of these developers. I tear buildings down. They build new buildings. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Mollenweider, you're up.
You can zoom in with this wheel right here, Teresa. This wheel on the mouse.
Okay. Teresa Vollenweider, 5201 Northeast Maybrook Road. That parcel that I've just selected from the Jackson County Parcel Viewer is Paula Deal's two pieces that were combined. Zoned ag with the county, rezoned ag with the city. So the combination took place, but there's no plat at the county in the records to indicate that that was to happen. And generally, it's the city that provides that makes the resident do a plat, a minor plat, and submit it and take it to the county and record it, so that this can get done. But there is no plat. There is no minor plat that I could find. Here is the document signed by Michael Weisenborn indicating that the application has expired for that plat. There's the ordinance that was signed by Mayor Baird, head over here, and the clerk. And it says that this ordinance shall not be in effect until the subject property and the abutting 11-acre parcel addressed as 3420 Southwest Pryor Road are platted into one lot, and said plat is filed in the office of the Recorder of Jackson County. That I do not believe has happened. So my question is, how did the county Combine those. Why are they still not two parcels, one without a residence on it and one with a residence on it? Why? I want answers. This should not be happening, and this is not the first time that this has happened. Something's going on. And when you have experienced planners and experienced engineers that are not informing property owners, that an engineer, a professional engineer that is not a land surveyor, is not a licensed land surveyor, cannot do a plat. That's what this is. This is an engineer's signature and seal. Yet, Hector didn't tell her, Gene Williams didn't tell her, Kathy Kramer, I think, is in the GIS department, didn't tell her. Why? She spent money on this.
All right, thank you, Ms. Mullenwetter. All right, we're going to move on with the rest of the meeting. Tonight we have a presentation to start us off with the Lee Summit School District, R7 School District, regarding a purchase of property from Unity Realty LLC at 1901 Northwest Blue Parkway for relocation of Hazel Grove Elementary School. Mr. Elam, are you going to start us off?
I can give a real brief overview as I pull the presentation up and get the podium PC going. And then I will turn it over to the school district. And then we've got Mr. Bushek back with us to talk through a little bit more. This is kind of directly related to a bit of the Unity Village conversation that you saw earlier this evening with a very specific request in a unique area. With that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Buck and Dr. Shelton to walk us through what their request is.
Thank you.
I actually brought Dr. Shelton and Casey Crawford's going to come back up here, who you just had a time with your joint meeting here a while ago. I'm going to kick it off about partnerships. This community thrives because we have so many partnerships. In fact, there was somebody sitting here earlier that I was at a meeting prior to your meeting starting, and we gave over $62,000 of grants to 501c3s who help out those in need in our community. So I'm so appreciative of being here in Lee Summit, and I thank you for your service. I just want to highlight a few of the partnerships we've had in recent years. So the 291 North 50 interchange. Just this afternoon, we signed papers, both sides, city and school district, to transfer the land so that road can be done. That was just done today. And even sometimes we're working with city officials just on things that happen. So a contractor, I don't know if you know, hit a water main pipe, and we had Yellowstone over there, Yosemite, I'm sorry, going up in the air. And so we affected our cafeteria, and we had to serve lunch a little differently, at least in the high school. But it's our partnership with the cities that got that back on by 11:30, and we really appreciate those partnerships. I think of our partnerships with the fire department, the fire academy, and all the good things that are happening there, or the aerospace academy, which we celebrated earlier last month, and is a one-of-a-kind piece in our nation. Nothing else like it. And we have that with the Parks Department too, and that's kind of what brings us here to you for today. Right now, I can tell you the Parks Department and the school district are exploring a district cross-country course on a park service that the district would maintain, but then citizens can have a 5K grass-based course they can run for all those who missed those days when they were younger. But also, we have this new park that you learned about today on Unity Village. So part of our bond issue, which passed in April, is 75% yes. Over 9,000 people voted yes. One of the highlights of that was a new Hazel Grove. Hazel Grove Elementary is a 1940 building, and it has major ADA accessibilities, and its backbones are something that, from another era. It's been a long time since I've been in a building that still has screw-in fuses. They still have screw-in fuses at Hazel Grove. So we're looking to build a new elementary. Usually we do not announce a site until we've closed, but there's something unique about this property, so we're here telling you about the site we have a contract on. So it's becoming public for the first time tonight because of this. And yes, I had press contact me today to ask questions about it. So that's adjacent to your Unity Village Park you heard about earlier. In fact, you saw they were talking about a future landowner. That's us. You can see that 75% of the mountain bike trails are on the property that we are purchasing, that we would then have a deal with the Park Service. As well as there's no road access that's a safe way for the Park Service, so they would come off the road we will build. So we'll build a road and then they'll punch off of that to get down into the park. So I just want to thank you for all the partnerships we've had. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Shelton to kind of go over a little bit of what we got on screen. And then Casey Crawford will talk about what the ask is. And then obviously Dave Bushek will come up and finish that ask up.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, Steve Shelton, Associate Superintendent of Operations with the Lee Summit School District. As you can see on the screen, as Dr. Buck mentioned, this is the site plan for the brand new Hazel Grove Elementary. The current Hazel Grove is on a 6-acre site. This is a 27.5-acre site roughly that is located just south of Colburn Road, just to the east of Northwest Blue Parkway. The building itself, as you can see by the drawing here, is south on the south portion of the property. Gives us a great opportunity to tuck that building away from Colburn Road, away from Northwest Blue Parkway, and buffer it from a lot of traffic. Speaking of traffic, because of the size of the lot, unlike current Hazel Grove Elementary, this will have capacity for 75 cars on the site itself, in addition to about 10 buses on separate loops. As you can see, the cars would come off of Colburn, could double stack them, and then there's a third lane going out for them to exit. And coming off of Northwest Blue Parkway, you can see the buses come in off of Northwest Blue Parkway, and the bus loop is there. Behind the building, just even further south, up against the boundary, that's where we have the hard play and the soft play. What's outlined in red here is what we have defined as developable land. So that's what we feel like we need to effectively operate a school. What you see in blue is what we feel is undevelopable land. On the east portion of this property, if you look, you're going to see what is a retaining wall. We're going to need to build up this site some. There's a spoil pile in the green portion, as well as we're going to dig out another detention pond on this site, and we're going to take that dirt, build up, and build a nice retaining wall on the east portion of this site. But then you can see everything that's in blue, as Dr. Buck has mentioned, that then becomes accessible to that adjacent park to the east. Do you have any questions?
All right, questions?
I'll just say this. This is bringing Hazel Grove into the city limits of Lee Summit. Currently, it's not, and we're very excited about that opportunity.
Yeah, that is exciting. Plus, Hazel Grove, it's a little behind the times with regard to the electricity and a few other ADA things, probably.
It's time. It's definitely time. Thank you. I'll turn it over to Mr. Crawford.
Okay.
Good evening, City Council. Casey Crawford, Legal Counsel for Real Estate for the district. So I will give a 500-foot view of why the district is here making a request. And if I'm incorrect in any of the factual history, Mr. Bushek will clean up a little bit on that. So the proposed property here is in an existing as part of an existing redevelopment agreement with multiple different parties, namely the City of Lee Summit and the Unity School of Christianity, pertain to some infrastructure improvements many years ago. So that land that is in red that we're purchasing, as stated in the redevelopment agreement, requires that in the event that there is a transfer of property inside that redevelopment agreement, that A, the City of Lee Summit has to approve that, and B, if that entity to receive the property as the transferee is a restricted entity, there would otherwise be a fee assessable and payable by the transferee to the City of Lee Summit in lieu in exchange for what would otherwise been received by that restricted entity. The restricted entity is, in essence, an entity that does not pay, it's not subject to property taxes, of which the district would not be as a political subdivision. They don't pay property taxes. The intent, is my understanding, of the redevelopment agreement is to be able to generate those property taxes in order to pay back for the infrastructure. Mr. Bushek will go into more detail about the scope of that redevelopment agreement and the CID and what now may be encompassing that. But we're here today not only from a twofold perspective, that as a condition of the redevelopment agreement and a condition of our contract with the Unity School of Christianity, we're required to obtain the city's approval. It's pursuant to Exhibit E of the redevelopment agreement to get your written approval to actually consummate that transaction. That transaction cannot occur without your approval. And the second request here is because that redevelopment agreement requires that if the property is transferred to a restricted entity, that restricted entity is required to pay the same fee to the city of what would be commensurate with the CID special assessment. I don't know what that figure is. I cannot guess, and I cannot make an educated guess as to what that may be. However, the district is requesting, in order to build Hazel Grove here, a full and complete waiver in perpetuity as only applied to the district and its successors or assigns, not any unrelated party, meaning if the district were to sell real estate to a private party, it would not apply to that private party. But the district is requesting a full and complete waiver in perpetuity of that annual payment as identified in the redevelopment agreement. So those are the two asks from the district to the city today. We'll be more than happy to answer any questions that the city may have.
Okay, thank you. We'll hear from Mr. Bushek and then we'll chime in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, David Bushek, Economic Development Council for the city. Thanks for having me back. So I will give a brief history of how we get to this point and how we got to the school district's request tonight. I'll walk through a little bit of history. For some of you, I may just be reminding you of what you've already approved, because this is based on city council approvals. So I pulled a few slides from the presentation that I made to the City Council for the Discovery Park TIF plan, and that's, you'll see the notation at the bottom. So first map, just to orient you with property, and you've been talking about this, and it was just discussed in the school district's initial presentation here. The school would be relocating into Lee Summit, so this map shows you the boundaries. And the other thing that's useful to look at on this map, and then I'll circle back to this, is realigned blue Parkway. The city funded the construction of this realigned blue Parkway to the tune of, it costs about $3.7 million back in 2012, 2013, that was completed. So this alignment here is the current alignment today. This next slide that I'm showing you, this is the original boundaries of the Blue Parkway and Colburn Road CID and the Chapter 353 redevelopment plan. The way this works is the Chapter 353 plan abates the taxes down to zero, and then the CID imposes special assessments in the amount of 50% of the abated taxes, and that generates revenue to reimburse for public improvements. It was divided into three phases. So phase one is this area here with the boundary line being the railroad tracks here. Phase two is everything over here north of the interstate, and phase three is the area south of the interstate, with the intention being of the original incentive package that the structure that I just described to you, tax abatement plus reimposing 50% of the abated taxes, is designed to reimburse the city for the improvements that the city paid for to build this road that I just talked about that cost $3.6 million. And then as this area, the original intention of this plan was as phase two and as phase three develops, the same structure would be used to generate revenue to reimburse whoever's doing the development in phases two and phases three for the public improvements that would be constructed in those phases. So to begin with, we have phase one, which has already been activated and is generating a very nominal amount of revenues for the city. It's in the range of tens of thousands. It has come nowhere close to reimbursing the city for the full cost of this Blue Parkway improvement that the city funded. Then fast forward to 2022, Discovery Park came along, and this is the boundaries of the Discovery Park property. And then this final map I'll show you, this is a page from the petition that amended the CID and expanded the CID from the original boundaries I just discussed with you to include all of Discovery Park. So the CID today includes all of Discovery Park and the original area I showed you. The arrangement under the contract is fairly straightforward for the city. 25% of all of the CID revenues that are generated by this entire area would flow to the city to reimburse the city for the Blue Parkway improvements. And so then we get down to the request that the school district is making today, which is, as Mr. Crawford just explained to you, a twofold request. The first request is to approve the purchase of property by the school district because it's being sold to a tax-exempt entity. So that requires your approval to allow that to go through. And then the second part of the request, as he explained, is a waiver of the requirement to make the annual compensation payment to the city. So if we go back to the original structure, the contract provides that if a tax-exempt entity purchases any property in this area, they would make a payment to the city equivalent to what that special assessment payment would have been. So the city is effectively receiving reimbursement even though it's a tax-exempt entity. So the school district is requesting a waiver of that payment, meaning if you approve that, the city would not be receiving any reimbursement from the development of this property to pay for the Blue Parkway improvements that the city originally funded. The concern is heightened a bit because the interest that has been accruing since the completion of the improvements was at what we negotiated in the contract was prime rate plus 75 basis points, or 0.75%. So when that went into effect, and when the structure was approved by the City Council back in 2012, prime rate was 3.25%. Today it's at 7.5%, so it's a pretty hefty interest cost. Due to the inability to generate revenues in this area because it hasn't developed as originally projected, and because of that accrual of interest, the city today is owed about $6.14 million. So that's the amount that we're looking at to try to solve for. So the school district is requesting a waiver of any payment that would go to chip away at that $6.1 million that the city is due. And the interest will continue to accumulate until the city is fully reimbursed. So that $6.1 million number today will continue to grow because we're not even covering the interest payments from the revenue that is the nominal revenue that is being generated. Now, last bit of information. In the Discovery Park contract, we negotiated an arrangement that I already described to you, which is the city will receive 25% of all of the CID revenues generated in the CID area. So what I did is I went back to the Discovery Park TIF plan, pulled the original revenue projections, and calculated what the city is likely to receive if Discovery Park actually develops as originally projected in the TIF plan. Pulled out that data, ran the calculations based on the developer's projections in the TIF plan that you've already approved. And bottom line, if Discovery Park fully develops as originally projected by the developer, at the end of 23 years in the life of the TIF, the city would be reimbursed about $5.5 million. So to summarize that point, if Discovery Park builds out as planned, the city would eventually receive $5.5 million and possibly more because these calculations end at 23 years, but the CID lasts until 2052. It was a 40-year CID when it was originally approved. So by the time we get to the end of all this, if Discovery Park develops as projected, it's likely that the city would be close to being fully reimbursed, but we still have that interest that's going to continue to rack up on the outstanding costs. So who knows after 3 decades what the situation will look like. But back to the main request, the school district is requesting your approval to purchase this property because the school district is a tax-exempt entity, and they're requesting a full waiver of the payment that they would otherwise be required to make. And that's the request. So if you're inclined to say yes to this request, there's a form of motion that's in your meeting packet, and that motion would accomplish what the school district is requesting. So that's a lot of information there, but the school district request is very straightforward, and hopefully that history helps you in your deliberations and your decision.
Okay. Questions for Mr. Bushek or the school district? Councilmember Shields.
All right. So I'm going to admit, this one's a little bit confusing.
Okay.
So just start right there. This one's just a tiny point of clarification. Mr. Crawford, you're here in your capacity as counsel for the school district, not in your capacity on the Parks Board, correct?
Correct, that is, yes, I understand. I've worn a different hat earlier in the
Well,
meeting.
and then we were talking about how this is next to the property we might develop for a park, and I'm like, just making sure I got all the rules straight
You
in
are
my
correct.
head.
I am here in my role as legal counsel for the district.
Totally fine. And Mr. Bushek, you're here in the role as the city's counsel, even though you no longer work for the city of Lee Summit itself, right?
Yes, I am still your economic development counsel.
You guys are just messing with my head tonight, so, okay. So when we talk about, okay, so first of all, you've got this big CID, the red and the blue area equals the entire CID at this point, right?
Correct.
Where is the school's proposed site on here?
The school's proposed site is, this road here is I'll just kind of show you with the mouse, right about here,
Okay.
and then I'll go back to their site plan.
Okay, but
That's here.
that's like a, it's just sort of hard to tell
Yeah.
the scale of this to that. So this is a pretty small section of that overall CID, right?
Correct. So just to maybe orient a little more, this stretch of road here, if you can see where I'm waving the mouse, over here on this slide, that's this little stretch of road right here.
Okay. That's helpful. So right now, if that area were to develop as a superstore or whatever, it would be subject to the CID tax reimbursing the city.
Correct.
But because it might develop as a school and that's tax exempt, that's the kind of concern of where we might end up losing out on some revenue.
Correct, and that is why we included a provision in the redevelopment agreement with Unity, between the city and Unity, that if it's purchased by a tax-exempt entity, they would be required to make a payment equal to what they would pay if it was a taxable entity, which is basically 50% of what the tax would be if it was taxable.
Okay. And is that the real property tax, not like a sales tax?
Just the real property
Yeah,
tax,
okay.
yes.
But it's the school district, and so it's kind of a policy decision for us if we want to waive that payment.
Correct. You're essentially presented with the policy decision to say yes or no to the school district's request to allow the sale to occur and then waive the payment that they would otherwise be contractually required. Unity and the school district would be required.
And they
to
at
make.
this point don't know it sounded like you guys don't know what that tax bill would be. There's not a way to calculate that right now?
So this is actually an interesting issue, and the answer is no. I don't think anybody even has a guess. But the way it would work, based on how the contract reads, is the county does still value tax-exempt property. Presumably, they would value the property, and then we would calculate what the taxes would have been. If it was taxable, 50% of that would be the payment to the city, to reimburse the city over a period of years.
Yeah, but it would be pretty unusual for us to try to get money out of the school district. I mean,
Yes,
I understand, like, it's a policy decision, but that's kind of what we're weighing, is like, we like to be good partners with them, and, yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And so Discovery Park is mostly the area that's in blue on here, right?
Well, so Discovery Park actually goes all the way over to this line here.
Gotcha,
So
okay.
Discovery Park's Phase 1 is not up here,
Mm-hmm.
the TIF. So now I'm talking about the TIF, and what's going to be generated from a sales tax standpoint is Project 1 is here, Project 2 is here, their Project 3 is here, and 4 is over here.
Okay, so a good chunk of the rest of the CID is Discovery Park, but not all of it. So it's possible that some other things might develop in that area, be subject to the CID tax. Like when we're talking about how much
Right.
revenue might conceivably be generated out of this, you would take the Discovery Park plus whatever other commercial stuff might come in around it, but not the school if we approve this.
So
right?
to be clear on that point, if you go back to the original structure and how it's set up, today, the revenue generated just in Phase 1 reimburses the city. The revenue generated, this is under the original structure, not as it was changed by Discovery Park. The revenue that would have been generated in Phase 2 reimburses whoever built public improvements in Phase 2, and then the same for Phase 3. So the structure today is the city's only going to be reimbursed from the revenue that's generated in Phase 1 only. But with the amendment that we negotiated, that I described to you, we're going to be getting 25% of the revenues that are generated by Discovery Park also.
Okay. But basically Discovery Park is the only possible revenue source other than this land?
At this time, yes.
And then when you say if Discovery Park develops fully, we could possibly see 5.5 million over the life of it, is that nominal dollars or net present value dollars? Like because we're going to keep accruing interest on.
Yeah, I haven't gone that deep in the calculations. This is what I had time to do today,
Sure.
to be honest, which was go through the TIF plan, look at their revenue projections, and then just calculate a straight what those dollars are. Now, when you start, I mean, it does get more complicated, and there's a lot of variables here. What is prime rate going to do? What's the interest rate going to do? And then start to compare to what does inflation do to, the time
But it's like-
differential
it's-
of receiving the
But
revenues.
you're thinking it'd be like probably $5.5 million, but maybe over the life of this with additional interest and whatever, it might be probably would be more than 6 million that the city would end up being owed.
Yes, and so it's very difficult with all these variables to predict when we reach the end of this whole sequence, will the city be fully reimbursed if Discovery Park
Right.
fully builds out? I'm not sure, but we'll get much closer because that's still a substantial amount of revenue for the city.
Okay. Mayor, are you looking for
Yeah,
opinions, consensus?
Sure, yes.
Okay. I mean, it's a little bit hard to make like a really good informed decision because it seems like there is a lot that's just unclear, but my general instinct is to be a good partner to the school district, and that, this property over there hasn't developed yet. There's not any guarantee that it would develop into something during the life of the CID that generates a lot more revenue, so I think I would approve the sale and the waiver and just try to be good partners and bring that school into our boundaries and serve the families of Lee Summit. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. Member Tim Lopez.
Thanks, Mayor. I know Councilmember Shields already asked a couple of the questions I wanted to pose to you,
Okay.
Mr. Bushek. Just understanding context. So you stated 2012 was when the original CID was created, and the sole really intent was to renovate and improve Blue Parkway.
Yes, as far as the city's concerned with the
Right.
structure.
Right, knowing that there's future planning to improve Colburn Road and open up all those arteries to improve access for citizens in general, including, I think, a lot of the activity that happens at Unity Village, for example. I think they've benefited from that. And even though we've not seen the return to pay for these reimbursements to this point, nor will we with this, what's before us today with the school district, the intent was still to improve safe roads and better access for our residents.
Yes.
And in an indirect way, it also has benefited other commercial areas, has it not, would you say?
Yeah.
Just having access to different arterial roads.
Sure.
And so knowing that there's a shortfall in the revenue with this current CID as it was expanded and amended here recently, even with Discovery Park, we may or may not ever get the full reimbursement.
That's correct.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we can't gauge, as Councilmember Shields says, what the true future return is on that investment. But the bottom line is we're making streets safer and the environment safer for all residents.
Yeah, absolutely, these improvements have.
Yeah, so that to me has a huge value. And we're the council in 2012 had the same vision that's just been adjusted over the years and expanded upon.
Yes,
So-
and I think it was a known risk at the time when the decisions were made.
Right. So I think that was considered when we considered the amendment here not too long ago.
Yes.
So, okay, with that being said, Mayor, if you're wanting kind of a perspective from us, absolutely. The theme tonight has been partnership, collaboration, being strategic, being long-term thinking. And so this just falls along with that same concept. And so I would absolutely support, this what's before us today, supporting the school district and offering the waiver that they're requesting. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Rader.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Bushek, I just have this question. Have we had situations like this before where we've directly lost money with the school district in these types of situations, or has there ever been this kind of a situation?
And this is pretty unique. I mean, this is a unique situation. The contract provision was negotiated and written into the document to protect against a potential array of scenarios But each of those scenarios would be the property being transferred to a tax-exempt entity. It wasn't written specifically for the school district. It was written in the event a private tax-exempt entity comes into the area. We were intending to try to create an additional reimbursement source for the city through the contract provisions that they're requesting a waiver from. It wasn't known that the school district might be the purchaser, but the intention was to try to enhance the city's reimbursement from this structure to the greatest extent possible. Yeah.
Ryan Elam, Assistant City Manager. Just wanted to add that to the best of our knowledge currently, this is the only situation where we have front financed and installed the infrastructure in this manner. So typically a lot of our other incentive projects, the developer would be responsible for that and either do a pay-as-you-go type basis or through a bond. But this is the only one where we direct finance that we can recall over there. So that's another unique aspect of this particular piece as well.
So as Mayor Pro Tem Lopez indicated, yeah, this was done prior to, and it was just like we front-loaded this and said we're going to do it no matter what, come what may. And so I feel like, in agreement with my colleagues here, that probably it's the best scenario to move forward. We've got to continue to support our schools and help our kids be educated and go on to do better things. So I would say that I would agree that we need to move forward on this and agree to.
Mayor, if I could add just one more thing. The projections that Mr. Bushek was talking about really were just the Discovery Park area. We did not add in any projections for the future development of I'll say the west side of Blue Parkway there. All of that ground still remains available as was originally intended. So for that piece of ground to the west of Blue Parkway, in between 50 Highway and Blue Parkway. So that will be additional revenue that's not captured in that current projection as far as the payback, if you will, on this one. So
that's good to hear. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Funk.
Thank you, Mayor. I think in the beginning of the discussion, Dr. Shelton, you mentioned, or maybe Dr. Buck, you did, that part of the access that you're going to pay for, school district's going to pay for, is going to generate the access to what would be the new park property, correct?
That's correct. So when the Park Service was up here earlier, they showed you a road coming in that's not on their property, and then it made a right-hand turn, if you will, down into the park. That road coming onto the property that wasn't theirs would be the road to the school. So they would gain access from that, as well as majority of those trails, they show mountain bike trails, will be on the property that we're purchasing as well.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to be clear of that was part of the discussion, but I think, Mayor, this is a great example of how our incentive policy works today as the way it works when we develop and pay as we go, when we partner and do incentives and things like that. So I think it's a great program of what we're doing right now. With that being said, I think this is a great partnership with the school district. We've had great partnerships with them, and we continue moving forward with this.
All right, thank you. Dr. Buck, could you answer just a couple? The land around there, or Dr. Shelton, either one of you, the land around there is not fully developed. Don't you, for the most part, find that activity follows whenever you put schools in?
So what we see when we put elementaries, rooftops like to follow, but this is quite a commercial area, and there's other pieces of property for sale we looked at here. We looked at 7 total sites in Kansas City, in Unity Village, and Lee Summit. We chose this one because A, it lays the best, and B, it gets up farther away from heavy traffic. We want elementaries to set back. We want middle schools and high schools to be on major arteries.
Okay.
But there is land for sale there right now, yes.
Okay, very good. I mean, I'm supportive as well. I think, gosh, we're all the time trying to figure out how to make things work and partner together and collaborate. And I'm glad that we're in a position where we are, where we have a council and school district, or a council and a school board and a school administration and a city administration that are working together and finding solutions. So appreciate you coming here tonight. I would be supportive as well. So from the members we have here, we have a consensus for the most part, but Mr. Head or Mr. Dunning, or Mr. Bushek, I guess, since you're leading this, when to approve that and when to waive the payment?
So I thought about this. There's different levels of formality with your approval. Ordinance is the most formal, resolution is next level, and then motion. Motion would accomplish it. So there's a form of motion that's in your meeting packet, and if you approve that motion, that would be your approval, and we would move forward
Okay.
accordingly.
Councilmember Pryor, are you good with this? Okay. I think we've kind of voiced our sentiment, Mr. Bushek, so I guess I'll ask, yes, please. Councilmember Shields, would you please?
I move that the City Council approve the request from the Lee's Summit R7 School District to approve the purchase of 6 parcels totaling approximately 28.6 acres in the redevelopment area and waive the payment required by Section 5.01B of the redevelopment agreement.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve you did the waiver, and did you also do the sale?
The purchase.
Yes, okay. For the sale and the waiver with the school district by Councilmember Shields, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Lopez. Discussion. All right, seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. It does pass 6-0. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys. You guys, we're partnering on all kinds of stuff. We got this great airport thing going on. We've got just numerous things to be proud of, and this is just another result of building those bridges. So, thank you all. All right. We'll keep moving forward. Another economic development news item. We've got a presentation, the introduction of Grayson Capital. Mr. Elam, would you please?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and council members. Ryan Elam, Assistant City Manager. What we've got before you tonight is really a brief introduction for somebody that is stepping into a project that's been around for a little while. And just to get us oriented, I've got a couple of quick slides on here, and then I'm going to turn it over to Grayson Capital and let them introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about who they are as a company. But the situation that we've got is Paragon Star Village Apartments were approved by a PDP in 2019, and these are slides from the original PDP presentation that was done. And just to orient everybody, here's 470 Paragon Star Soccer Complex. All the roundabouts, the diverging diamond, and I think the existing building that is out there is in this area here. But we're talking about specifically the apartment area that you can see right there. Again, just another shot of where that was envisioned back in 2019. And then in 2022, a group called Gold Crown Properties and Altus Investment Group Equity came and they received approval for a land clearance for redevelopment authority redevelopment plan solely for the purpose of sales tax exemption on construction materials. And so that was approved through the process, and they went relatively far, but they never made it all the way to construction. And now Grayson Capital is coming in and preparing to step into those shoes and take over this portion of the development as a developer there. And so with that, we wanted to just provide an introduction to who they were, and they will have to come back for formal approval and minor amendments to the LCRA redevelopment plan, just as the ordinance was very specific in the developer itself, hence the introduction. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Michael Collins.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Michael Collins, Managing Director and CEO of Grayson Capital. We are a development company headquartered here in Kansas City. So one of the things I wanted to do is to give a little bit of insight about who we are. But first, I'll give you a little bit of insight about myself as well. I'm not new to the Lee Summit area. I spent almost 10 years working for Senator Kit Bond, working on battery stuff and wastewater infrastructure in Lee Summit. This is a place that I've always held near and dear to my heart. And so this is a humbling opportunity to be able to come to you today and talk to you about this project. So a little bit about Grayson Capital. My team is over here next to Paragon Star. I will say that 50% of my partners over there hail from Lee Summit, so this is home for a lot of us. So about Grayson Capital, we are a fully integrated real estate company. We work on advisory, owner's rep, development management, project management, asset and property. Asset classes, we do a lot of public-private P3 projects, multifamily, healthcare, and hospitality. Healthcare makes us travel across the country. We do a lot of suburban areas. We also have a medical office here in the suburban areas and the greater Kansas City metro also. Just a little bit about what we're doing in Kansas City. So you know this isn't our first project that we're doing in the Kansas City metro. As you may or may not know, we're working on the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum campus with the Negro Leagues Museum in the historic Jazz District. 6 different projects there. We've already pretty much about 70% complete on the garage there, but then the other development, the hotel, and then multifamily is coming next. And actually not many people have seen that, so I'm going to go move forward. We also are in the Crossroads developing multifamily in the downtown area. But then here's where we are. We are in Cleveland, building an ambulatory surgery center and medical office building, around 70,000 square feet. So one thing we wanted to do is really show you the differences and the demographics. This is here in a suburb of Philadelphia, of a medical office and ambulatory surgery center as well. We do a lot of these projects across the country. We want to know and get to know the people that make these communities and develop the right project for them. So I know that you've heard a lot about Paragon Star and the development here. We are naming this the Preserve. One of the reasons why, if you've spent time there, the soccer fields, what have you, it's an area that really fits with what we want to do, that really speaks to Lee Summit and the city of Lee Summit, and not just build something that looks like what we're doing downtown, but to build something that you all will be proud of, and also have the tenants there that want to be in Lee Summit. This will be somewhere that they call home, and home for a long time. We want them to graduate from here to possibly a single-family home. We want them to be what we've been saying, sticky tenants for the city of Lee Summit, and have them and see them grow their family, and then obviously grow within the area. So a lot of the things we won't really change from a design standpoint. Number one, we like the design. We also know that you all have seen it, so we really want to understand how do we actually just continue the momentum in the development of the project, not really trying to redo something and say, hey, we know what's best. Also, we know that what's important, or we're learning what's important to those of you in the city of Lee Summit as to what needs to be there from an amenity standpoint. Again, this is the development that you all have seen, probably not at this ground level before. A lot of it's been aerial views, but we've also kept the interior design as well to be the same. And so one more thing we're looking to do is just make sure that, again, the amenities, the development is something that is a nexus to the city of Lee Summit. Again, we're going to be asking you all questions. We want to know what's missing, what's being thought through. So again, this is what's more of an introductory. I'm more than happy to answer any questions, and if I don't have the answer, I'll tell you I don't have the answer. But this was something that we wanted to do and just say, introduce ourselves as Grayson Capital, reintroduce myself to the city of Lee Summit, and inform you all that, we're not new, but we have a lot to learn, and we're really excited about partnering and working with the city of Lee Summit.
All right, thank you. Thank you for coming and making the introduction. So, Councilmember Pryor?
Thank you. I just had a quick question. So is this the same location as that's been presented before as apartment? So this is Grandview School District. I know apartments like this don't add a ton to the school districts, but this is Grandview versus Lee Summit School District?
This is Hickman.
Oh, Hickman.
Yes.
Okay. Oh,
Yes.
It is Hickman.
It's
Okay.
Hickman, and then this is the exact same location where the
Okay.
garage is being built correctly right now. Currently, it will wrap around the existing garage facility.
Okay. Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Other questions or comments for Mr. Collins? It is really nice that you've come in, introduced yourself. Thank you, Paragon, for making this introduction as well and keeping us up to date. And we're excited about Paragon Star and everything that's happening out there, the development, the interchange, and of course, soccer field's been a huge success already, but we're excited about the continued growth, and this is a big part of it that goes hand in hand with the commercial that'll follow. So,
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I
Yeah.
appreciate your time.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I think that's it. We'll probably connect again sometime. Yep. All right. We have one more presentation tonight. This is a tourism campaign kickoff. And we've got, of course, our executive director, Corey Day here. Ms. Day.
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. I'm going to get set up here. Okay. All right. Well, good evening. Thank you so much for having me. As Mayor Baird said, I'm Corey Day. I'm the tourism director for the City of Lee Summit. I just want to start by saying thank you so much for the opportunity to present the new marketing campaign to you, as well as the funding that you provide that allows us to tell the Lee Summit story every day, which is a joy in and of itself. We have many members of our board and marketing committee here tonight. I just want to say thank you to them and recognize them for their work that got us to where we are in this marketing campaign, as well as the establishment of our Visitors Bureau over the past 18 months. But before I get into the presentation, and I know this is a lengthy presentation, I promise it's not going to take what it looks like. Many of these slides are very quick, so we'll keep it moving. But I wanted to take just a moment to explain the process that brought us to this point. Beginning in March of 2025, we set out on a journey to position Lee Summit as a prime destination, not only for visitors of all ages, but also a place to be explored by our own community members. During this process, we've conducted 2 research projects and countless meetings and presentations, not only to the Visitors Bureau Board, but also to many of our community partners. We wanted to make sure this was a collaborative process, and we believe that we did our level best to try to make sure we were getting plenty of feedback along the way. So as we go along, I would welcome any questions or feedback that you have. We do have some representatives from Trezolo Communications, who is the agency that we asked to be part of this to help us with our 3-year marketing plan, as well as our creative campaign and our new brand identity, which we'll see tonight. So they'll be helping answer any questions that there may be. People coming up and down, but we'll try, like I said, we'll try to keep it moving. So the first thing that we set out to do, as I said, was effectively position Lee Summit as a prime destination for visitors of all ages. We wanted to grow awareness, attract economic impact for visitors, and obviously continue to maintain local support for tourism. So who are we talking to? Obviously, when you set out on something like this, you've got to know who you're talking to and who your audience is going to be. So young families or grandparents, friends, couples, empty nesters, locals rediscovering new things about our city. Obviously, we have a city that's constantly in development, constantly changing. We've heard so many exciting things, even just from our Parks Department tonight. So we want to make sure that we are continuing to let our own locals know that they don't need to leave our city in order to see and do exciting things and bring their own friends and family here to see what we have to offer. And then obviously visitors from nearby towns seeking something different to do with, that is near where they're already living. So based on the research, as I said, we did a couple of research projects as we were doing this, and if you're interested in seeing that information, I'm happy to share it. It was not something that we needed to go through tonight, but we did find out that what people needed to know more about was Lee Summit. They just didn't know a lot about us in many cases, and so not everybody wants to go all the way to Kansas City. So many people are looking for a place like Lee Summit that they consider to be safe and affordable, and that they can offer. In addition to being a place where, in our brand promise that was developed out of this research, we create a simple, enjoyable moments of adventure, entertainment, and wholesome fun without the hassle. So it's important to remember that as you go through this and you see the campaign, everything that we do, we look at through this promise and make sure that what we're telling people or what we're saying to people is authentic, that we're being very real about who we are, and that we can offer the kind of experiences that we're selling them through the creative campaign. So making sure that we're consistently telling the same story is very, very important when we launch a campaign like this. So the next part was figuring out what is our personality. So if Lee Summit was a person, what would you describe as our personality? After looking at our assets, we obviously know that our beautiful downtown core is the heart of who we are. It gives a very charming experience every time you're down there. In addition to, the parks being here tonight was perfect because the number of parks and trails and different kinds of offerings that we have also gives that sense of adventure that they can come here and get something that would please everyone in their travel party or their family. So charming with a sense of adventure is where we landed on the brand personality, just based on the offerings that Lee Summit has for families and couples and any of the other target audiences that we are talking to. So in working with Trozzolo, we learned this gee whiz idea early in the process, but it's basically the big idea of the campaign. What did we land on? What are we trying to sell when we're talking to visitors or even people within our own community? And so we're talking about Lee Summit being the perfect escape. So as we went through this process, we also realized that for tourism that we may need to look at the brand identity and make sure that we are setting ourselves apart from others that are trying to get people to come to their destinations. We are not alone in this. Clearly, there's a visitors bureau in many of the cities, even in our own state. And so it was important that we figured out a way to define ourselves and come up with a mark that set us apart from other destinations. So in that, we had to know kind of what was out there. So we did these are just some other destinations. Some are near, some are not. But if you'll notice, it's always very type heavy so that you're very clear on where you're asking people to come and visit. You don't want it to be confusing and you don't want it to be something that people don't know what they're looking at. So the first sketch that we landed on, there were many, many, many concepts that we went through, and this was the first sketch that we landed on. So after some tweaks and some conversation with the board, this is the final brand identity that we landed on. As we worked through the process, we changed the M's up. We felt like the sharper M's, the smaller T with the the smaller I with the exaggerated T, really kind of gave that sense of adventure, where the Explore being handwritten gave that more charming personal touch to the logo. So the colors on the right-hand side of the screen, the blue, the purple, the orange will be used throughout the campaign, and then the circle is actually an animated circle that will be used on most of our social media posts. So it just increases engagement with social media posts when things are active and more attractive to people when they're surfing the web, looking on their phone, scrolling through their phone. So as the work began, we started with our marketing committee for the Visitors Bureau. We were offered 3 concepts originally. The marketing committee narrowed those down to 2, and then that was taken to our entire board to come up with the final decision as to which campaign was going to be moving forward. So because the campaign was the Just Right campaign, so there were 3 different, each one of them had kind of a key tagline that we would have taken from them. Because the Just Right campaign was chosen, we wanted to provide a relatable touch point. So how could we tell the story without it being boring, keep it interesting, and relatable to people as they were looking at reasons to come and visit Lee Summit. So in figuring out that relatable touch point, Goldilocks felt like the perfect voice to communicate all the great things that Lee Summit had to offer. At the same time, telling people that if they come here, they're going to avoid the typical hassle that they would find in a normal vacation. So by personifying our Goldilocks as a young, hip tour guide, which you're going to see in just a moment, we also gain credibility in the same way that influencers provide third-party credibility. So we're not just us saying, we're Lee Summit, we're super great, you should come here. We're trying to give that third-party influencer endorsement to have people understand that someone else feels that way about us. So we believe the talent that we cast brought approachability. She brings warmth. She's funny, so her comedic timing and her professionalism, it also allowed us to capture additional assets and takes out of the commercial that we'll be able to use later in our other social media posts. So this is just, what you're seeing tonight is just a snapshot of what's going to launch, what we hope, in early February. It is not necessarily the only thing that will ever come out of that. So we did a 2-day photo shoot in mid-November of all kinds of different locations in Lee Summit, and this is what you're seeing now is all of our new assets that we have. So in keeping with the theme of being the perfect escape, we're not too big, we're not too small, and as an added bonus, we're just right down the road from many of the communities that we'll be talking to during the campaign. So for families looking for a little adventure, Lee Summit is just right. So we did some early testing over the holidays. I know that some of you saw these billboards, the billboards in particular, but there was some other media channels that were used during the holiday campaign. So we just wanted to run through these really fast and give you a few of the analytics that we got at the end of this to show you the impact we were able to make in just a few weeks of having this in the world, and for people to see what we were all about, and to get Lee Summit in front of people during the holidays. So as I said, you did see some of these billboards. This was one that was in Warrensburg. And if I'm moving too fast, let me know. But again, I want to make sure we
Slow
keep it
down
in
so they
moving.
can take them in.
Okay.
That first one. There we go.
So there's the Warrensburg outdoor. Merry times, no worries. Obviously, this one was targeting more couples. You'll see that we don't use a lot of words. We use more of the images. That's why they're so important in these, in all of these ads, because that's who we're targeting. We want people to see themselves in the ads as we're going through. This is Sedalia, obviously making that connection with the train. We both sit on the Missouri River Runner Amtrak line, so making that connection with the Sedalia. Lexington, targeting our families, no hassle, all joy, Lee Summit. And Harrisonville, again, back to the couples, so you will see that some of these will look similar. The colors may change, that sort of thing, but they're all pretty similar. And then this one was actually in Blue Springs. That was on the digital billboard. This was the only one, I believe, that was digital. All the rest of them were static billboards, so this one was one that cycled through. So we did some digital ads with Casey Parent Magazine. They've been a great partner of ours. We actually have had some kind of some earned media with them as well. They did in the fall. They did I think some of the 6 best places to go in Lee Summit, and they just did that because they love Lee Summit. They came out and actually did a tour with Ryan Elam for Green Street and did a big story on that when Green Street opened, and so they've been excellent partners. So we will continue to partner with them, and this was one of their e-blasts that went out targeting families, obviously. And this is Casey Parent is a publication it's a free publication. Yeah, that has a really big readership because of that, and you'll find it in various places across Kansas City. So again, we were targeting families here with an Instagram ad, and that's what we did with Casey Parent this time around. We will continue, as I said, to partner with them. Casey Magazine, we did a package buy with them, so there were a variety of different things. So this is an Instagram ad that targeted couples. As you can see, the text on the left is the copy that would be there along with the Instagram ad. This was Facebook, same ad. Obviously, they're just sized differently depending on the social media channel. The e-newsletter banner ads, it also, I should mention that anytime anybody sees this, if they click on it, it will take them to our website. So what we're constantly trying to do is drive that traffic back to our website. Leaderboard ads, these are much smaller, so they don't have the ability to have a photo as per se, so we keep it very simple with the Explore Lee Summit and then simple copy. And this is the only print ad we did for this campaign for the holidays. So this was in KC Magazine. It was this is not one of the new photos. We didn't have our new assets at that time, but we felt like it was appropriate with the holidays and people gathering and spending time together. So that's the only print ad that you see. KC Daily was also another e-newsletter. Again, too small for a photo, so we leaned in on our copy and the new logo. NKC is another publication that we're working with. We did their e-newsletter. These were the two that different ones that ran, one friends and couples and one targeting our families. And then this radio spot, there isn't audio on this one. This was a 15-second spot that was actually a live read. It went out on 8 different stations, so this would more than likely, it would either be after traffic or weather. So Lee Summit weather brought to you by Lee Summit. They'd read the ad and then go into the weather report or the traffic report. So there were 8 stations that this aired on. So some initial results that we got, we were pretty excited about some of these, most of these. So when you see OOH, you'll see this when I come back to you with other campaigns. It just means billboards. It means out of home. So if you're not familiar with what that means. So the billboards served over 1.1 million impressions. They launched on 11/11, and we also were able to get about 89,000 added value impressions because we have some excellent relationships with the billboard or out-of-home companies, and so they actually left our vinyls up longer than we actually contracted for. So they went in further into the holiday season than we had anticipated and that we paid for. So we had an extra almost 89,000 impressions because of those relationships that Trezolo has built over their time working with these companies, which is great. Traffic radio, as I mentioned, was on 8 stations with 1.7 million impressions. And when we say impressions, it just means people either saw it or heard it. That's all that word means is that's how many people saw or heard the ad. Digital partnerships, the KC Magazine print ad was delivered to over 112,000 people in December. So those were the people that got that magazine. And then the e-newsletters were over 200,000 folks that were subscribed to those e-newsletters. And paid search, which is basically when someone searches for things to do, we're paying for our ads and for Lee Summit to come up ahead of other people. That launched on 12/15, and when this deck was put together, which I think was only about these numbers are a little bit dated because we needed to get the deck out, but about a week after we had already had over 5,000 impressions and 612 clicks to the website. So again, as I said, we're constantly trying to drive more traffic back to that website. So we'll continue to show you these sort of analytics. We just want you to start to get used to seeing this from us because this is how we're going to gauge on how well we're doing and the best use of the return on investment of the funds that you give to the Visitors Bureau to spend. We want to make sure that we're showing the impact that we're having. So before we move through here, this is the, I apologize, I got behind in. This is the February launch, so this is what we are hoping to kick off at the beginning of next month. As I said, this is the first time that we have advertised in a lot of these media channels. It's the first time that we've been in a lot of the markets that we've been in because this is the first marketing campaign that this Visitors Bureau has put out there in the world for everyone to digest and learn more about Lee Summit. So we will be constantly reviewing all of these analytics and the performance of these media channels. We will give them some time to perform. So, clearly we're going to be getting dashboard reports from Trezolo. I'll probably be getting them weekly, could be monthly. A lot of these things are going to take some time. So it may take 3 months for us to keep something out into the world to kind of see the performance and make sure that it's performing the way we want it to. However, I will say some of the media channels we know are not going to perform as well as others. So when that happens and we see that happening, we have the opportunity to switch when we need to and lean into more of what's working and get out of what isn't working. We just don't know what that is yet. So we appreciate the fact that, you're in advance, your patience for us needing to figure out where we need to be in order to have the biggest splash and to tell our story to the right audience. So paid social will be a big piece of what we do. So these are just paid social ads. This is an Instagram ad. These are new assets. These are new pictures. So you'll see that this lovely couple is having lunch or dinner at Roots. As the people of Lee Summit will know where these are. We know that many people won't see it, but it's kind of cool to see it all come to fruition after watching the 2-day shoot. So I will mention the circle, as I said, will move, and then there is a line that is animated that goes under the word worries. So this is what the text looks like. again, very simple, they're very quick, people are just scrolling, you've got to do something to try to catch their attention. This is a carousel, so if people click, it'll go through to all 3 pictures. So obviously targeting couples, targeting families, those kiddos they had the day off of school that day and they got to come and play at Sky Zone and be part of our photo shoot, which was super fun. And then, obviously a mother-daughter shopping, coming down and enjoying downtown. So those would be the carousel that will go through on Instagram. Paid social retargeting, this is where marketers do our best when you're looking for a pair of shoes and then constantly you're just getting served up nothing but shoes. This is what we're going to do to those people as well. So if they have clicked on something or shown interest in Lee Summit, we're going to hit them with this ad again because they've shown interest, and so hopefully they will click through and it will get them to come and visit our community. So this is another, again, these are all new assets as far as the photography and stuff. It's all brand new. Radio, I will play this for you. So this, I will talk more about where we're going to be in radio. I'm not going to go into great detail on where we're going to be in media channels, but we just wanted to give you an opportunity to be able to hear the commercial that was going to be played that is not going to be a live read. This will be an actual radio commercial that is on the radio.
This is the story of Goldilocks and the 3 vacations. First, Goldilocks took her family to a small town, but they needed more to do. So then she took them to the big city, but things there were so hectic that they got overwhelmed. Finally, Goldilocks took her family to Lee's Summit, and it was like a breath of fresh air. It had everything from shopping to fine dining, the Green Street Farmers Market. So be like Goldilocks and explore Lee's Summit. It's just right.
So we think that it will definitely catch people's attention, which is what we're wanting to do. It will hopefully sound like nothing else that's on the radio, and it will at least get them to stop and listen to the spot. Sorry. So the other piece that we're going to be going into is we will be on connected TV, which is when you are, and I will. You'll see this on our media strategy, but when you're sitting at home and you're streaming on your TV, and then when you're streaming on your device, those are 2 different mediums, and we'll be our media channels, and we will be on both with this TV commercial.
Hey, Goldilocks here. Have you been looking for that perfect, charming getaway? Let me show you why Lee Summit is just right. That is delightful. So chic. Oh, and the best part? It's a lot closer than you think it is. So, come explore Lee Summit. It's got everything you need to make your getaway just right.
Takes a lot of video to get 30 seconds of a commercial, by the way. So this was just, I wanted you to see a little bit of some of the additional photography and how well it turned out. You can see, you probably recognize some of these locations. This is 5 pictures out of thousands that were taken over the 2 days. So anytime you see our campaign, you will see new assets. We will be gathering some new assets for spring and summer. Obviously, everyone in these pictures has long sleeves, sweaters, jackets, boots, that sort of thing. So we'll be getting some new assets for spring and summer when we launch our new spring and summer campaign. So this, quickly, I just wanted you to get a quick view of where we're going to be over the next few months as we go into the February launch. Those are so the top line there is where the commercial will run. Audio, where you'll hear the radio spot. Publications, this is where you're going to see the digital pieces. Again, we're partnering with a lot of the same folks that we did for the holiday campaign. Digital will be our paid search and paid social, and then we will have some more out of home in May, which we'll do new billboards in May. Obviously, they won't be the holiday billboards. So, and then this just tells you we're active on Facebook, Instagram, and X. We do partner with our Creative Services department. Creative Services is who actually manages all of our social media channels, the paid social and the social media channel posts that happen 2 to 3 times a week. All of that works together. So Creative Services has worked with the Trozzolo team to ensure that they look the same, they have the same feel, that we're using some of the same assets so that, again, you get that consistent feel and it doesn't feel like you're disconnected on on what you're paying on social and what you're posting throughout the week. And that is what I have for you this evening. So I'm happy to take any questions, feedback. I know I went through that pretty fast, but I wanted to be respectful of your time as well.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Pryor, you want to start us off?
Thank you. I love it. But how come you guys aren't doing TikTok? I feel like Facebook is kind of going to a thing of the past, and TikTok, they do targeted influencer now, targeted location. How come you're not on TikTok?
I couldn't agree with you more. That is something that we're working on. We're working on through the city.
Okay, good. I think that's a huge missed market by not being on there. But no, I love all of this. Looks great. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Shields?
Yeah, I'll mostly just second that. I think this is great. I'm so glad that you got all the new photos done. They look fantastic, and you need them for what you're doing, so I think that's great. And I know you're going to share them with some of our partners, I think, at EDC and at downtown Main Street, so that we all rise together. Right?
Absolutely. We actually have the link. I just got it, so I was going to tell you that tonight. So I'm really excited we'll be able to. We got so many that we're going to have plenty that we're going to be able to share, and then keep some just for the campaign as well. So
I just think it's great collaboration and great way to work together. So I think it looks great. I love the messaging. Like I can tell a lot of thought went into it, but I like that it feels authentic to Lee Summit, like about what I like about Lee Summit, and it feels like the right way to sell the community, the right audience to target, and it feels realistic, like who we're going after. We're not going to get international travelers with this campaign, but, focusing on our surrounding communities and locals makes total sense, and I think you really captured, the spirit of what makes us unique. So that's impressive to be able to do in an ad this big. So thank you. It looks great. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Councilmember Rader?
I have some questions.
Okay.
First of all, I was just curious. So it looks like you targeted in your billboards at Warrensburg and Sedalia and Lexington. Was there a reason why you didn't go the other direction towards the west, Kansas, that direction? I mean, was that something that was just, you were trying to target those people coming to Lee Summit and not those people? And I was just curious if there was a reason for one way or the other.
Sure, yeah, and I will lean on Tammy a little bit on this one. I know that availability of billboards is one of the big reasons, because you have to make sure that you have where you need them and where you want them and where it makes sense, going the right direction, which is also, but.
Yeah, and we're targeting Kansas City.
Can you come up to the microphone, please?
Sorry, it's the first time for me. Hi, Tammy Jennings. We are targeting Kansas City area in other ways, but for our smaller markets, we had a limited flight for our billboards. So we wanted to make sure that we were being consistent and being seen along those highways where people are driving along those areas. So we think we have a better chance of capturing some of those smaller markets with our digital billboards rather than Kansas City where we're doing CTV, radio, digital, and that sort of thing.
So you just tried to hit them all?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
and again,
great.
We're testing, so we want to
Sure.
we want to see where we're going to capture those audiences.
Thank you. And so will this campaign run for a year, or will you be changing it up? I mean, I know you're going to be changing up basically pictures for holidays and different seasonal things like that, but is it going to be Goldilocks for the entire year or forever?
No, so
Okay.
it won't be forever. Most of the time, these campaigns are 3 years, depending on how they.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely worked hard to create this. We wanted
I need you to come up to the microphone. I'm sorry.
So more than likely, it's going to be, as long as it tests well and everything is going well. I mean, if we get into the market, and I don't anticipate this happening, but I think it's important, again, for you to understand that, with this being our first one, we want to make sure that it's going to play well. So if it doesn't play well, then, we go back to the drawing board. But in my experience in the past when I have done these, we're looking at probably 3 years where we would lean into. And again, as you can see, we only use her in video and radio. It isn't like we're leaning into that for our socials and those kind of mediums that are on all the time.
Yeah, I know there's branding, and it takes time to brand. I get that for sure. I love the Explore Lee Summit. I really like the way you did the logo. And actually, I'm going to be honest with you. I had a conversation with Crystal today, and I was just like, oh, I don't know. And she talked me off the cliff. And I will tell you that I was very impressed. Once I saw it here and you presented the video and then the Goldilocks gal, that was really cool. So anyway, I like it, and I think you guys, I know you've just worked your heads off, and I'm really hoping that it's going to be amazing for Lee Summit.
Me too.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thanks,
you as
Mayor.
well. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Funk.
Thank you, Mayor. Great job, Corey. I like the fact that Goldilocks is a real person. That's kind of neat. I just have a question, and it's curiosity. So when you do billboards, how do you capture that? I mean, how do you judge how many people are really reflecting from that billboard?
Our vendors do this all the time, so they know the estimate of traffic of how many people go by. So it's an estimate.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
That's just a question. No, great job. Thank you for presenting tonight. This looks good. I like the Explore Lee Summit.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Lopez.
Thanks, Corey. Appreciate it. A lot of the same comments that have been made already. I'll be honest, when I saw this on the agenda, I didn't know what to expect. And like kind of it's already been said, wasn't sure, but this was convincing. It shows that you all have put a lot of thought and effort into this, knowing that a previous council had the vision and the wherewithal. This has been discussed for many years. This is perfect timing. And I know that former Councilmember Johnson back there, he's hiding. He's got his fingerprints all over this, his creative juices. No, kudos to everyone involved, everyone on the committee and the commission. Great job. And this is exciting, and it's something that we can all look forward to for sure. So I think you guys nailed it, and I'm excited to see what's coming down the line.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor. Thank you. Councilmember Pryor.
Thank you, Mayor. I forgot to ask, so is this our new city slogan instead of yours truly? Does this take place of yours truly, or is it now, it's still everything? Separate?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll own this just for us for now. So,
Okay.
no, we didn't intend on doing anything other than giving the Lee Summit Visitors Bureau a name that really spoke to what we felt like explained our destination and what we were asking people to do. And when we used the word explore, we really felt like it not only spoke to, hey, come in and explore our community, but also, as I said, all the community members that are probably missing some of the really great things that we have going on. We want them to get out and explore their own community as well. So we're really, we only did the branding for the tourism arm.
Okay, I like the Explore Lee Summit a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Funk.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem Lopez, he triggered something in my mind when he mentioned former Councilmember Johnson. It is 9:02. So it's way past your bedtime.
That just shows you what a dedicated board member he's been, so.
All right, thank you. I too love the graphics and the fonts and the statistics that you showed, the impressions, the diversity of the media from digital, print, social, radio, TV, e-letters, and of course your retargeting. As annoying as it can be, it works.
It sure does.
It works on me every time. I'm like, how am I falling for this? And so, no, that's great. I'm guessing that you're going to do some geofencing and keep track. You're going to do, are you going to be a big part of, like I know Donnie in the downtown does the placer data. You're going to be tracking all of that and keeping that information and being able to provide good feedback for us for events and such?
Yes, I work very closely with Donnie on that, and so if I need something like that set up, I always reach out to him, and we make sure. That's why we were, even for the Green Street grand opening, we were able to geofence that and get the numbers, so absolutely. Good point.
What are you going to, for the World Cup, are you going to be able to geofence areas in the community?
Yeah, I think it's just going to, that might even be something that I'll reach out to Public Works and see if we want to geofence the park and ride area to see what kind of zip codes we're getting in and out of our 2 areas that we have. And then obviously for our football Fridays, we'll want to see if we're attracting different visitors. But there's also, I would assume we'll be geofencing downtown during that time as well. I don't want to speak for Donnie, but we'll be geofencing downtown that way as well, because we'll be pushing people to the core of our city and hoping that we're getting, because it will be important. It'll be important for everyone's ROI, so that information will be invaluable at the end of all of this.
Okay. You also, in the presentation, had it was only one sheet. I'm sure it's many, 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 many sheets, but a media strategy.
Yes.
And sharing that with the council, really helps provide transparency as to what the board's doing. And I know it's a summary, but that's all we need is at least a summary of your objectives, goals, and the results. So we really appreciate that. And then, I think we're all excited. I'm sad that we've got 3 missing tonight, because I think every single person up here is really a strong believer that this is a void we need filled, the tourism. And we've been looking forward to it, filling that void for you to tell our story and to get our name out there. We don't want to be the best kept secret anymore. We want to be the coolest secret, and
Absolutely.
I think that you're doing that with this great plan and all the great graphics and such. So just keep telling the story the way you are, and keep us up to date here and there.
Okay.
But we do like the data. I'd love to see the data once you have 3 months.
Yeah.
That would be exciting.
I know, I'm excited too.
Yeah. I think the numbers are going to be really big if you're using all these strategies and using, the Trezolas, and your board obviously is really engaged. So thank you for presenting tonight.
Okay.
And do you have any questions for us?
No, just thank you. Thank you for your support, and thank you for believing in what we're doing. And we'll keep telling you the great stories about what we've got to show for all of our work.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, council, are you able to move on, or do you want to break? Oh, have you been? Okay. Yeah. So, thank you all. Board members, thank you all for coming tonight. Appreciate you all. Okay, well, we are on agenda item 8A, is that correct? Yes. Okay. These are proposed ordinances forwarded from committee. And do you have all the ordinances? Okay. Councilmember Shields, would you please read bill number 26-011?
Thank you. I move for second reading Bill Number 26-011, an ordinance approving the 2026 Jackson County Board of Election Commissioners poll contracts for the Lovell Community Center, Longview Community Center, and Gamber Center, and authorizing the Administrator of Parks and Recreation to execute the same by and on behalf of the city.
Thank you. We have a motion to move to second reading, Bill number 26-011 by Councilmember Shields, seconded by Councilmember Funk. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. That bill moves to second reading unanimously. Councilmember Shields, would you please?
Thank you. I now move for adoption of Bill Number 26-011, an ordinance approving the 2026 Jackson County Board of Election Commissioners poll contracts for Lovell Community Center, Longview Community Center, and Gamber Center, and authorizing the Administrator of Parks and Recreation to execute the same by and on behalf of the city.
Thank you. I have a motion to adopt Bill number 26-011 by Councilmember Shields, seconded by Councilmember Funk. Discussion? Please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. It's adopted unanimously. Thank you. Councilmember Shields, would you please read Bill number 26-012?
Thank you. I move for second reading of Bill Number 26-012, an ordinance approving change order number 4 to the agreement for joint operations center migration plan between the City of Lee Summit and Motorola Solutions, Inc. for an increase in the contract price of system infrastructure costs of $2,824,533, and additional increases in annual system lifecycle maintenance costs of $317,490, and cybersecurity costs of $96,240 over a period of 6 years, and authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement for the same.
Thank you. We have a motion to move to second reading, Bill number 26-012 by Councilmember Shields, seconded by Councilmember Funk. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. It moves to second reading, 6-0. Councilmember Shields, would you please?
Thank you. I now move for adoption of Bill number 26-012, an ordinance approving change order number 4 to the agreement for joint operations center migration plan between the City of Lee Summit and Motorola Solutions, Inc. for an increase in the contract price of system infrastructure cost of $2,824,533 and additional increases in annual system life cycle maintenance cost of $317,490 and cybersecurity costs of $96,240 over a period of 6 years, and authorizing city manager to execute an agreement for the same.
Thank you. We have a motion to adopt Bill number 26-012 by Councilmember Shields, seconded by Councilmember Funk. Discussion? Please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. That bill's adopted 6-0. Thank you. Proposed ordinances, first reading. Councilmember Shields, would you please read Bill number 26-013?
Thank you. I move for second reading Bill number 26-013, an ordinance repealing ordinance number 10283 and approving an agreement between the City of Lee Summit and the Missouri Department of Public Safety for the city's acceptance of appropriated funds in the amount of $1,500,000 for the planning, design, and construction of an emergency operations facility pursuant to House Bill 8, Section 8.133, fiscal year 2026, and authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documents for the same by and on behalf of the City of Lee Summit, Missouri.
Thank you. We have a motion to move to second reading, Bill number 26-013 by Councilmember Shields, seconded by Councilmember Funk. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. That bill goes to second reading unanimously. Thank you. Councilmember Shields, would you please read Bill number 26-014?
Thank you. I move for second reading Bill number 26-014, an ordinance repealing ordinance number 10284 and approving an agreement between the City of Lee Summit, Missouri Department of Public Safety for the city's acceptance of appropriated funds in the amount of $2 million for the planning, design, and construction of emergency operations facility pursuant to House Bill 8, Section 8.133, fiscal year 2026, and authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documents for the same by and on behalf of the City of Lee Summit, Missouri.
Thank you. We have a motion to move to second reading, Bill number 26-014 by Councilmember Shields, seconded by Councilmember Funk. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. That bill does move to second reading unanimously. Thank you. And that takes us to proposed ordinances, second reading. Councilmember Rader, would you please read Bill number 26-003?
Thank you, Mayor. I move for adoption Bill number 26-003, an ordinance approving a preliminary development plan for Oldham Village, Lot 18 and Tract E on approximately 2.99 acres of land generally located at the northwest intersection of Southwest Persels Road and South M291 Highway, all in accordance with the provision of Chapter 33, the Unified Development Ordinance of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Lee Summit, Missouri.
Thank you. We have a motion to adopt Bill number 26-003 by Councilmember Rader, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Lopez. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. That bill is adopted 5-1. And next we have a bill on here that in the first reading was passed 6-3. We're short 3 people tonight, however, so I'd like council to consider continuing this until we have a more full council. So we can continue it if everyone is in agreement. Councilmember, what's that?
Oh, it's because it's just Cinda and myself. So you guys.
No, you have to have 5 to pass it.
Oh, you do, okay.
Yep. But you could continue it, we can continue it with 4 votes. Councilmember Shields?
I would offer a motion to continue Bill 26-004 to a date certain of January 20th.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion to continue Bill number 26004, second reading till, what date did you give?
January 20th, next meeting.
January 20th, by Councilmember Shields, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Lopez. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote on the continuance. All votes are in. Oh, no, yeah, 6 of us. All votes are in. Please record the vote. It's a continuance, so it says motion failed, but Mr. Head, it does move to the next reading for continuance, not an adoption.
Correct, Mayor. Procedural items only require a majority of those present voting.
Okay, so we'll see that on January 20th.
I think I've got the next.
Yes,
next
please,
one.
Councilmember Shields, would you please read Bill number 26-005?
Thank you. I move for adoption of Bill number 26-005, an ordinance approving the rezoning from District PI Plan Industrial District to District PMIX Plan Mixed Use District and Preliminary Development Plan for East Village Phase 2 on approximately 50 acres of land generally located in the southeast intersection of Southeast Bailey Road and South M291 Highway, on accordance with the provisions of Chapter 33 Unified Development Ordinance of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Lee Summit, Missouri.
Thank you. We have a motion to adopt Bill number 26-005 by Councilmember Shields, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Lopez. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. That bill passes 5 yes and 1 no. Councilmember Shields, would you please read Bill number 26-006?
Thank you. I move for adoption of Bill number 26-006, an ordinance submitting to the electors of the City of Lee Summit, Missouri at the election on November 3, 2026, the question of whether the City of Lee Summit should provide for residential city solid waste waste collection services.
Thank you. We have a motion to adopt Bill number 26-006 by Councilmember Shields, seconded by Councilmember Funk. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. By Councilmember Shields, seconded by Councilmember Funk. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. That one also is adopted 5-1. Thank you. Councilmember Funk, would you, do you have yours? Okay, Councilmember Shields, would you please read Bill number 26-010?
Thank you. I move for adoption of Bill number 26-010, an ordinance approving a cooperative agreement among Oldham Investors, LLC, the Oldham Village Transportation Development District, and the City of Lee Summit, Missouri to implement the Oldham Village Transportation Development District.
Thank you. We have a motion to adopt Bill number 26-010 by Councilmember Shields, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Lopez. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. That one also is adopted 5-1. All right, thank you. And that takes us to committee reports. Councilmember Pryor.
Thank you. Councilmember Rader got to lead her first meeting last night, and she did a good job. So anyway, we had Public Works Committee meeting last night. It was a quick agenda. Few routine business items that we recommended approval. These will be in front of council next week for consideration. We also, the bid award for the reconstruction of Olive and Orchard, which is approved, and the construction will start in early spring. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Shields.
Thank you. We had finance and budget last week and had a good presentation about contract delivery methods, things like contract manager at risk versus design, bid, build, that kind of thing. So some great information, and we asked to have some additional information brought back of kind of a look back on a couple of major projects to talk about what bid process was used and the outcome of that. So I think staff is going to be working on that. And did we decide for sure if that would come back to finance and budget or if that would come to full council, since it kind of touches on public works as well as budget?
Right. We're trying to figure out the right approach to take there. What we try to avoid is, bouncing things between committees. So, I mean, if it's the desire of the body to just bring that back to full council, that would be one approach.
Okay. And Mayor Pro Tem, I'd kind of defer to you guys how you want to assign that. The committee was interested to hear more, but whether that's in front of the committee or the full council, totally open, so.
It's going to be transparent to the whole group.
Okay.
Okay.
Bring it back forth to council, maybe? Okay.
Yeah, sounds great. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Okay, council comments. Councilmember Shields.
A couple of items I want to touch on. One is during public comment today, I think there was a good point brought up about public education about the public comment process, that actually when that gentleman was speaking, I was trying to kind of go on our website and see what we had publicly available. And I was able to find it after hunting around a little bit and Googling of the 3-minute time limit and all that, but it was a little bit hard to find. So I think if we can make that a little bit more accessible, maybe do some better communication on that would be a great service for the public to understand kind of what their, how that process works and how they can submit those comments and be a part of the process. So anything we can do to increase participation and transparency is is always great, so I just wanted to say that. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention is, we had a quick report on the Charter Commission tonight, and I think we know that you cannot both serve on the Charter Commission and serve in an elected office, and I believe we have a couple of commission members who are running for office, and so my understanding is that sometime one or both of them would need to step down, however that kind of shakes out. And so I wonder if we might want to send that to the Rules Committee just to discuss in the event that someone leaves that commission, really for any reason, because it's a big group and people may roll off of it. How do we replace those folks, or how do they move forward on that? So I just thought it might be good for Rules Committee to discuss that and see if maybe we want to assign it to them.
Rules Committee to discuss how to replace a charter review member.
And that is all that I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. I can talk about, I'll make a couple comments on public comments too. Councilmember Pryor?
Thank you. I just wanted to piggyback off of Councilmember Shields. Also, in like the education component on the public comments, a lot of people don't understand that public comment is separate from commenting during public hearing. Yes. And so I think it's important that we put that distinction and let people know that they can comment during both. Because I've gotten emails like, well, public comment is after this specific public hearing, and they were upset, but they don't realize they can comment during the public hearing. So, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. You done? Are you? Yeah. Okay. I wanted to add to that too. So I thought the speaker that talked about public comments did a good job, and all of his points were valid with regard to being as transparent as we can. We have these comment cards, and they're descriptive of public comments and public hearings, the ones they fill out. But I do think that the font is really small. That it's a tiny font. I have a problem reading it just because my eyes aren't great. But I think maybe this is the front, and then on the back or whatever, maybe a second sheet that is easier to read, maybe with, I think it would look better on a page if it was allocated better, and that would be a part of it. The website is one. Mr. Head has provided lots of scripts up here, numerous scripts at this point. I mean, they're all over the place. Different ways to say the rules of public comment, and I don't always go into great detail. But maybe I need to, given things like tonight. For example, the one I have here is, talks about it needs to be regarding agenda items or items related to the operations of the city. It says speakers will be restricted to 3 minutes. Minutes may not be transferred from one speaker to another. The mayor may declare a speaker out of order if the speaker's comments are not related to an item on the agenda, not related to the general operations of the city, related to a specific public hearing on this agenda, because then they need to speak in the public hearing, like you're saying. Disruptive of an orderly or fair discussion, entail profanity or threats of violence, attacks on another private citizen, and goes on to say, council will not act on any item not listed on the agenda, nor will it respond to questions at that moment. It's not a back and forth type of scenario with our public comments. Staff may be directed to respond at a later time, which we've done many times. So the thing is, Mr. Head, I consider tonight a character assassination of council members. It wasn't even one person, it was numerous, even though I was included. And, when it comes to that type of things, these types of things, I understand on social media that we're elected officials and we don't have really the rights of your ordinary citizen, to be honest. But I do know that when you're coming in here and saying untruth claims of wrongdoing, these things cause reputational, emotional, legal harm. That's the way I understand slander and such. And when there is no conflict, when there is no issue to be investigated. That's what's happening. It's causing reputational and emotional and legal harm. And I could go into more detail on that, but I just need, I need to know that, you know, I don't want to cause more of a commotion by interrupting those types of speakers, but like, that's just, it's not fair to just go right down the line, each council member, and saying that we're all in conflict and that we're all, you know, doing something illegal. So, Mr. Head?
I don't know that I have a lot of great advice right off the top of my head. That's a very difficult thing when you start getting into free speech, when you start getting into the fact that as a public official, the standard for proving the slander and libel and the things you were just mentioning is really quite high. It would be something we would need to think about as far as how we might be able to address that. It's something I would need to think about. I don't have an answer for you off the top of my head tonight, Mayor. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's fine. I knew you wouldn't, because I've been up here for 8 years, and I know that people can say whatever they want about you in social media as an elected official, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's fine. But coming in here and, you know, is just another level of, I'm not sure what the word is, but inappropriateness when there's no veracity to the claims. And so, okay. Councilmember Pryor? Was that from earlier? Oh, sorry. Councilmember Rader?
This is a really tough situation, and nobody likes to be called out on something when they feel like they're not guilty. I get that. I wonder if, I just wonder if, Mayor, you were reading about the responses that you have there that you can say to people. I mean, sometimes there's just going to be people that are cantankerous, and they're just going to do what they do, and that's just how it is. And I guess we have to be thick-skinned about it. And if we know that we're not in the wrong, then we must go on. But I wonder if maybe, I don't know how much information they have when they walk in the door of what they can expect when they come in to speak to us. And we certainly want to be open and welcoming to have them come. It doesn't feel comfortable for everyone, but I guess I'm just kind of saying this because I wonder if, and you may, Mr. Head, you may think this is legally not the right thing to do. I don't know, and I know you're thinking about this and pondering, but it's just like, is there ever situations where we meet with these people outside of council just to have conversation, maybe to help solve some of those problems or make them understand that, you know, we're not monsters or whatever that may be? I mean, is that something that we legally would look into? I mean, I'm just wondering.
With regard to staff, I don't know that there's a lot of, I don't know what meeting staff could necessarily have with regard to that sort of thing. It has become a personal issue, is what it appears for the individual who's speaking. With regard to other speakers, one other speaker in particular, we have met dozens of times, provided thousands of documents to.
I was really
negative is the problem.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was really referring to the council person, to meet with that person
yes.
Personally.
You're certainly, I think, able to meet with an individual personally if you wish to. I would remind you, however, that one of those individuals is actively engaged in litigation with the city.
Yes, I understand that. Yes, thank you. That's really all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Pryor?
Sorry, I just thought of one more thing. I believe a comment was mentioned tonight about when developers are here, we get to have back and forth dialogue with them, which is true. But I will also say, I know that there are several of us council members that our emails, our inboxes are always open to constituents, and we have back and forth dialogue quite often with a lot of our constituents. And if a developer emails us, a lot of us don't even give them the time of day. We say, nope, we'll just hear what you have to say during the public hearing. So that is their only opportunity to really have any sort of back and forth dialogue with us. Now, of course, there are exceptions. If a developer hasn't lied to me, then I'm more apt to have a meeting if they request at City Hall. But yeah, so I will say that that's really the only developer's opportunity to engage with many of us up here on council. And constituents have many opportunities. And I also want every constituent to know that we have email addresses and phone numbers, and I don't know of a single one of us that don't love hearing from them, and we don't know what we don't know. So our inboxes are open to constituents. So if they feel like, I want them to feel like they get our time because they deserve our time. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Shields?
Thank you, Mayor. I guess I would sort of second what Councilmember Pryor says, and to a certain extent what Councilmember Rader said. Like we do meet with constituents outside of here, and if folks reach out and ask me to speak to them, I think a lot of us are always available for calls and coffees and that kind of thing. And when it's not that developers have a special line to us up here, it's that someone who has a particular matter of business does. So we sometimes have private citizens who are trying to do a lot split or get like my neighbors got their accessory dwelling unit, approved, or, if a private citizen has an application, they're up there speaking to us too. It's just the nature of, the format of the meeting, right? As far as like the particular comments that were made during public comment tonight, I didn't like them. Like, I don't like seeing my colleagues attacked in ways that I think aren't fair. But I do think, like, being able to say mean things about elected officials is that's the entire First Amendment. Like, that is the core of why it exists. I don't like it when the elected officials are my friends, but I don't, as long as they're not making threats or anything, like, I don't feel like there's a lot that we can or should do. Like, there's a reason on the script that you read, Mayor, that it says that they can't make derogatory comments about private citizens. They can't get up here and just say mean things about their neighbors, but they can get up here and say mean things about us because we're elected. So I don't like it, but I understand that it's part of our system, and,
Okay.
and I just
As long as everybody understands, I'm not going to interrupt, and I'll just let them say what they need to say and what they want to say, and I will move on afterwards. So, because what you're saying is accurate, and Mr. Head obviously confirmed that. So, okay. Do you want more? Okay. All right. Well, staff roundtable.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple quick items. More in the passing of John Van Gorkum. He was an assistant fire chief here at the city for many, many years. Our Lee's Fire Department members are supporting the visitation and the funeral services for him and his family. So I wanted to mention that. I know I sent you some email information on that, but just acknowledge that he was a long-serving member of the Lee's Fire Department. Of course, the mayor's character breakfast was mentioned. So this, on the heels of that, the very next morning, we as an organization are having what we call our all-hands meeting. So as many employees that can make it to a meeting where we, as an organization, recognize employees who have exemplified our core values of service excellence, integrity, and service excellence. We will have nominations for each one of those core values, and then we'll have an organizational winner who exemplifies those core values. We'll also have nominations and individuals recognized for their leadership, and then we'll have one for a team's effort. So that celebration takes place this Friday over at Green Street, and that's something that we do as an organization every year just to highlight good things going on in our organization. So I wanted to mention that. I will get you all of those names. It's secret right now, intentionally, but I will get you that information so you have that awareness as well. That's it. Thanks, Mayor.
All right.
Mayor?
Yes.
One quick thing, in
Yep.
the absence of Councilmember Carlisle, I will just remind everyone, we do have Legislative Intergovernmental Relations Committee on Thursday at 11:30. Our primary topic of discussion is going to be consideration of a potentially expanding our lobbying efforts to the federal level.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I think that's the end of the meeting. I need to adjourn this meeting at 9:34.